runs the place, T-Roy. The OG on the marquee, Jaybird. And the cat who runs the chat with the stats, Statman Surge. We are Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. We're not a Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We're not the Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We are your Quad City Sports Talk radio show. Welcome to the conversation, Quad Cities. But first, the Dawn.
How's everybody doing out there? It is a beautiful day to be in the Quad Cities. It's Monday. We're going to get a high of 54 today. Can't beat that.
Noon on a Monday, May 11th, 2020.
511.
We're not live.
What do you mean we're not live?
I don't see it.
It's live.
Oh, it's live.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah. It's live. Thank you for tuning in to Don't Hassle Us Local on ESPN 1170 AM. You can listen to us on your radio dial. You can listen to us on the app. Just go to wherever you download your apps from, the App Store, Google Play. You can listen to us on ESPN1170am.com. And finally, you can listen and watch on Harrington's Pub Facebook. Well, it's our Facebook, but it's brought to you by Harrington's Pub. Just go to QC Hassle.
Make your comments there.
Yeah.
Please do.
Got a new sponsor to announce today,
We
right?
do, yeah.
So we got all kinds of good stuff going on.
Rock and
Bombs.
roll. Yes.
We got the bombs back.
I'm back.
The diggity.
I'm digging.
Happy Mother's Day, Bomber.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
guys.
You get your feet rubbed.
I did not get my feet rubbed, but I did have breakfast made for me. And
Oh.
we watched movies and we did all that stuff. So I got my cuddles, and then I guilted them both.
Yeah.
It's Mother's Day. You can't tell me no. Give me a hug. Give me a kiss right now.
Well, I got announced to me that for Father's Day, she has to work, so I don't get anything special for Father's Day.
So always works
Well,
that
you
way.
know what that means.
So, you know what I told her? I said, well, fine, then today's my special day, too.
Ooh.
So you guys shared it together? You guys had a day?
She wouldn't let me.
No.
She still
said no.
fought me on it.
See, I have a thing with that. Like, if you have to work and you're not going to be home or she's going to work, then there's always bedtime. I mean,
Was that
it's free. You don't have to go to a store.
That's all I'm saying.
that's all
Women
you're
have it
saying.
so easy. I wish they would
I feel like Napoleon's brother. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
wish they would admit this to themselves and everyone else. We don't really have
But we do. We do need to thank our friend Paul Shelley from Just Doors QC. They're going to be a new sponsor of the show as well. Just Doors specializes in interior and exterior millwork, doors, trim, baseboards, crown molding, etc. Whether you need to replace a front door or a closet door, Just Doors is the right call. Although they are experts in door replacement, their main business is flipping houses as well.
Wow.
Their technicians are highly skilled and trained. You can contact them for a free quote. That's good. And for any type of references like before and after pictures, go to Facebook, go to Just Doors QC, like their page, follow them, and you can see some photos that they have of their before and after. Nice work. We want to thank him for that.
He's got his beautiful face on there.
It does. It was a little caricature there if you see it there.
Such
Yeah.
a pretty fella.
That's right. You got some reviews that are going on as well. We've got a lot to do today. You would think that, well, in the COVID-19 era, that there's a lot of things, but there's not a lot to talk about. But we have, like, MLB is working on a plan to return to action, and they're
Did you hear
going.
Shaq? Shaq made some comments today.
He said that the NBA should shut down for the year.
Yep.
So did Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley just said it about 30 minutes ago on the Dan Le Batard show. He said he shut it down.
Interesting.
MLB probably is going to submit this request to the MLB Players Association as early as tomorrow. And we can take a look at some of those things there. We have a phone call around 12:15. We've got two segments in the second hour.
Heavy Metal Monday.
Heavy Metal Monday. We've got
T-Roy broke down heavy metal for Bomber and Chase so they can understand where it started.
Right. We'll have that conversation later.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have it.
Oh, we're going to have it.
Sit and listen,
we are going to have it.
I have a fork.
We're going to have it.
We've got we've got to talk about episode 7 and 8 of The Last Dance.
Oh,
Last Dance.
It was so good.
It was, again, like I said, I just don't know if I appreciated it as much the first time seeing through it because there was so much to process in these two episodes.
Yeah, I'm sure there was.
I thought they handled
real depth.
It was real. There was real
super
depth.
deep.
Yeah.
And
Well, this is
But
one
I
of his
thought they
father in
handled
baseball. And
I thought they handled the thing with his dad very well.
Okay.
One, they didn't make it like a continuous teary-eyed thing.
Mm-mm.
You know, they basically they made it sound exactly what it was, and they took all that stupid speculation and what do you call that? Reckless speculation,
Yeah.
if you will, by some of the media that tried to say that Michael's gambling had something to do with it. No, they said, no, this is what happened. 2 18-year-old kids, idiots.
Random.
It was random.
Yeah.
As random as you get.
Yeah, he pulled over. He was tired. He pulled over the side of the road. And really what you take from that is what he said. My father always said, take a negative and turn it into a positive. And that's where it was like, he goes, honestly, one of my last conversations with my father was debating whether to return to baseball or not. He had internal conflict, like, should I do it? Should I leave the game? He didn't have any more of that competition drive. He had beaten everybody. There was nobody else there at his level.
Yeah.
Not even close.
So the baseball was the competition thing for him. Can I do it? That's his dad right away was like, do it. You should go play baseball. His dad always wanted to play baseball, but the man hadn't picked up a bat since he was 17 years old. He was, what, 30 now? 30?
He was 30.
He's 30, so 13.
So 13 years, I think by the time he started playing, he was almost 31. So it was like
Yeah,
13,
31. Yeah,
14
31,
years
yeah.
by the time he started playing again.
Yeah. So there's just so much to
He had a
break
little
down.
trouble with the curve, we found out.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little trouble with the curve.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he had to start out with a 13-game hitting streak, and then they said, all right, let's
They
throw
started
curve.
throwing him breaking balls all the time. when
Yeah.
he was going
Trying to
down.
break his balls.
Yeah, it was like Serrano in Major League.
Yeah. I've thrown him with the curve.
Look at the scoreboard now.
You know, help me now.
You know me, Al Jesus?
Joe Boo.
Jobu.
Oh, I try Jesus.
Jesus, I like him very much.
You trying to say
He no help with me with curveball. You
Trying
try
to
to
say
say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball.
Oh my
Christ,
gosh.
Harris, let's not
Now I
make a
have to
holy
watch
war
it
out of
tonight.
this. Anyway, and there's a lot to that I want to look at. Well, I have written down just my notes. Anything about Jordan and his competitive drive, the break, the end of episode 7 when he says break, you're just like, oh, dude, when he just had it. Like
Well, he was like getting teary eyed. He's like,
Yeah.
you know, were you mean? Were you this? And he goes, if you didn't want to be where I'm at, that's on you because you never won. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he goes, you call me a tyrant, you call me a dictator, this and that. You're wrong because you never won anything.
Yeah.
Is what he was saying, and then
And then he came right out and,
I never
he
asked
addressed it.
and then he said, I've never asked anybody to do anything that Michael Jordan didn't effing do.
Right.
Break.
Ooh, the F-bomb.
And then the best part is they came and they directly address him punching Steve Kerr, because when you hear the story, well, Jordan punched Kerr in practice once.
Yeah, no.
Oh, when you hear it, you just hear Jordan jacks him in the face.
What happened?
Well, they were Jordan was riding him like he did Scotty Burrell,
Yeah.
a lot of guys, and Kerr lunged, hit him in the chest or whatever, came at him.
That's self-defense then.
No,
Not
they
good.
were just going
You got to
at
understand. All right, so here's Michael Jordan's mindset.
Okay.
He's saying that we play in the East. You've got to go through, even though the Knicks weren't like.
The Knicks were really good.
Knicks were there, but
So
I guess
was
the Pistons. I guess the
Orlando.
Pistons go. But you have Orlando. He threw in the Heat. He threw in Detroit, even though they had beaten them and they were kind of on the wayside. And the Knicks. And he said, I have to get them ready for this type of verbal trash and what they're going to do to them physically for the playoffs. It wasn't the season. It wasn't those games. It was the playoffs. So
Right.
he would find people, but there's other stories out there. Bill Cartwright told him, you do that to me. And in the practice, he told him, he came in a foul one time, and Bill Cartwright, and this is other books that it had. Bill Cartwright said, you do that to me, and you come in to the, drive to the lane, I'm going to clothesline you and end your career. Don't talk to me that way. And he knew, but at that point, he's got the guy that's saying, like, I've got somebody that I need.
Yeah.
Scotty Burrell, the thing about Scotty Burrell is he was just too nice of a guy.
Oh yeah.
And that is the one thing that everybody says about him. And he was hard on him. They're actually really good friends.
Yeah.
Like, they hang out quite
Wow.
a bit.
Okay.
And he knew that. Michael said right away when he said to the director, and I said this beforehand, the director said, why didn't you want to do this? Or he said, why didn't you want to do this before? And he said, I still don't want to. But he knew it was time, And the director, what do you mean? Why don't you want to do this? Why don't you want to release this film? And he said, because people are going to think I'm just this huge jerk. And he's like, the things I said to Scotty Burrell were just terrible. He was already looking out. That was like conversation 1 with the director before they went to filming. He knew what it was going to look like. And so Kerr, he was doing the same thing. He's on him, and finally Steve Kerr steps up.
And I think too, you see a couple times in both 6 and 7, or they're 7 and 8,
7 and 8.
where Cartwright was much more of a leader than what you just brought up than what we really knew. especially when he got on Pippen for quitting on him.
Well, that wasn't a good look for Pippen. We all know the story. I remember it too.
I remember it.
I vaguely remember.
So they're in the playoffs and they're playing. It's game 2 against the Knicks or game 3, and I have it here. And they draw up a play. Phil Jackson draws up a play he needs a game-winning shot, and he plays it up for Tony Kukoc instead of Pippen. And Pippen gets mad because he feels like he's the man. Jordan's now playing baseball in Birmingham somewhere.
Yeah.
So
But Tony had like Phil says he's had plenty of buzzer beaters during the season, and it's like 4 or 5, but all good shots. And the coach comes over and he goes, "Pip's down," and he goes, "What do you mean he's down?" He goes over and he says, "You're not gonna play," and he said, "No." I said, "Fine, F you," and he put someone else in. And Tony hits the shot.
Phil Jackson did that.
Yeah, he told Pippen. Pippen told him, "I'm
He
not
said,
playing."
Good for him. I like it. I agree.
Phil said, "Stay down then." And so then Jordan says that he called Phil the next day and said, "This is not going to be good for Pippen. He's going to regret this the rest of his life." Isn't that it? Or it's going to be Stanley's legacy.
Well, it's going to stay with him.
Yeah, and then
it has.
Pippen said maybe it was the wrong decision, but then he turns around and doubles down and he goes, "I probably would have done it again."
Wow.
Because he knew his emotions at the time.
Well, that's ego.
He was being honest.
I don't know if it's ego.
You know what? There was part of me, because I love Pippen, there was part of me that was disappointed, but there was part of me that understood it too.
Sure. But I think you have to swallow your pride in a lot of situations like that, especially when you go from number 2 and you think you're number 1 now. Yeah. You got to watch your ego there a little bit, you know?
But yeah, I think...
get the best of you.
You know, bringing out the fact of what really happened with him, and, you know, and didn't... Even they kind of touched on it a little bit, like Will Perdue said. He goes, was he an a-hole or was he hard on me?
No doubt about it. He was an a-hole.
He goes, but...
Looking back on it.
He goes, but I respect it.
What a hell of a teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know?
What he did on purpose to make me a better player.
Right.
You've got the LeBradford Smith story, which is the craziest story I've ever heard. So, Jordan's playing in Chicago.
Made it up. He made it up.
Jordan's playing in Chicago against the Washington Bullets. This guy plays, his name is...
No, he was in Chicago.
Yeah, we're in Chicago.
In Chicago,
yeah, playing the Washington Bullets. This guy named LeBradford Smith has a career night. He hits 37. He scores 37 on the Bulls. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Jordan did not have a very good game. They're playing a back-to-back, which is weird. So now the Chicago Bulls have to travel to Washington to play him the very next night. Jordan says to people that this kid came up to me after dropping 37 on me and put his arm around me and said, "Good game, Mike." And that's disrespectful. He goes, "You watch. Tomorrow, I'm going to put up what that guy did in one night in the first half."
He did.
He put up 36. This story is like told around the circuits. It's not one that's like out there or anything else. It's told around. GMs share it. There's always stories like that. And it kind of surfaced about this time when this came out. And so LeBradford Smith was asked about it like 15 years later, and he's like, that never happened. So the director says to Jordan, he's like, "Did that ever happen?" And Jordan's like, "Nah, I made it up." That's how he motivated himself. That's how crazy competitive he was. He made it up, not to like make his teammates rise up. He just was like, he made up a story. That's why I don't know if the George Karl story is true.
But they were doing the relative... well, the Karl story I think is true because
I don't care if Ahmad Rashad says it's okay.
I believe Ahmad Rashad. I'm sorry, Jay. I'm not going to conspiracy. I'm not going Leah on this one, right?
Well, I've already done my research on that exact topic.
But I like the fact that they correlated with what BJ did in the one game in the playoffs. So, listen, by the way, as a Hawkeye fan, you love BJ, and you love that. He's like, I knew what I could do. I knew what I could get away. But Mike coming back saying, okay. And that's immediately that game. It's easy to talk when you're up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talk when you're down or when the score's tied.
Hit them when they're up. Hit them when they're down.
Let's go.
Hit them when they're up.
And then Michael shut BJ down.
Yeah.
I can't believe he made that story up. I mean, I can.
Yeah, I can. I totally can.
That's crazy.
Because he's got to do stuff to motivate him. Because everybody knows. Don't piss him off.
Well, and they don't motivate you don't motivate the goat. I mean, you gotta.
They found out at a practice at the Olympics of all things.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson pissed him off. Look what he did.
Well, the story is, according to Bill Simmons, that 90 seconds that you have on the Warner Brothers lot during Space Jam in the Jordan gym that he had people come play in L.A., that's all there is video footage of.
Of who?
remember when he had all those people come when he was making Space Jam to play it, and they were running. They'd play for like 3 hours a night. Like that's because right away, you know, I'm sitting there saying like, there's got to be sub documentaries that I want to see here, and right away I'm like, I want to see all of these guys play. And I was listening to Simmons today with Russillo, and he said that he did his research and contacted the right people, and they're like, that's everything you saw, and there was the only video of those guys running playing ball, which still would be cool though.
No, it would be cool.
I mean, Rodman, Juwan Howard's there. He handpicks all the guys he wants to play. Supposedly George Clooney played too in those games. Yeah.
The actor?
Yeah, the actor.
George Clooney?
Yeah. And the director, even that
Hippie?
Yeah, he played also in some of those games. But I mean, he's just going to pull up whoever he can. Jordan is.
Yeah.
So so basically the story is that he loses to the Orlando Magic, and trainer's like, all right, see you in a couple weeks, and he's like, no, we start tomorrow. But in the summer he makes Space Jam, but he told him, you have to build me a basketball court, basically gymnasium, and that could be real similar to what we might see during this if the NBA does come back at gyms like that. All right, we got a phone call.
You're on Don't Hassle Us Local. Who do we have?
What's up, guys? It's Erickson.
Yo, Erickson, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Easy?
Happy Mother's Day, or Mother's Day week, I should say, to Leah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
A week now.
What a sweetheart. I get a week?
Yeah.
Remember, where are my flowers,
Yeah,
guys?
We
should get a
so
year.
Erickson's on the road right now. He was going to come in today. We were talking about a little segment that we're going to do in the second hour, and I figured since before he starts doing work, he can kind of tease what we're going to do in the second hour. It's a little Back to the Future type of thing. Basically, the premise is this: in the movie Back to the Future, he kind of changes, he can alter the way things are going to happen because it's a butterfly effect, right? If you change one thing in history, it's going to change the present that you're used to now. So if we were to do this in sports, Erickson, walk me through this.
Totally, and I put together a character correlation real quick too between that movie and your show.
Okay.
Because you are definitely Marty.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Okay.
Marty McFly?
All right.
Oh yeah.
God, am I Biff?
I got. Oh.
Am I Marty's mom?
I got you as Biff.
Hold on. What now? Say this again.
I got T-Roy as Biff.
Oh my goodness.
I got Doc as Kakert.
Okay.
I got Jennifer as Coral. I got Lorraine as Bomber. And George McFly as Surge. Mr. Strickland as Metcalf. And I got Einstein, the obedient dog, as Marvin.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Roddy didn't play.
Surge was Doc?
No, Surge is Marty. Or George McFly.
Oh, yeah.
George McFly, yeah, okay. Because he's cool, but he doesn't know it.
Okay. I didn't ask you to make characters. I wanted you to come up with a situation where if you changed an event in sports history, what would it be and why, and how would it change what we know today?
Okay, yep, I totally did this. All right, me and Doc, we're in the DeLorean. We're going back to October 20th, 2013. This is Week 7 against the Cleveland Browns. A player by the name of Jermichael Finley for the Green Bay Packers suffers a neck and spinal injury ending his career. Jermichael was a stud in the NFL. In just 5.5 seasons, he had 223 receptions, nearly 3,000 yards receiving, and 20 touchdowns. Not only would have Finley been a Pro Bowler...
He was a tight end, right?
Correct. The Packers have never been able to find a weapon at the tight end position, anything close to him. Insert undrafted free agent Brandon Bostic. Fast forward, January 18th, 2015, NFC Championship game against Seattle. Bostic was put on the onside kick hands team instead of Finley, drops the ball. Seattle goes down the field, gets a touchdown, and eventually wins in overtime. Patriots go on to beat Seattle in the Super Bowl. But instead of all this, we get finally Finley goes in, he makes the play, Packers win. And instead, we finally get Brady versus Rodgers. Packers win the Super Bowl. Rodgers goes on to be the GOAT, undisputed GOAT of the NFL.
Undisputed. I like that
See?
keyword right there.
That's a good one. Good job. You did a good job, Erickson.
Thanks, brother.
That is exactly the way that the Back to the Future segment should go, how that would change.
Boy.
That's really good.
Yep.
You got in depth
Yeah,
there.
I'm a firm believer that, he doesn't get hurt in that game, and the Packers win maybe at least one more Super Bowl, maybe two.
Wow, all because of Jermichael Finley.
I think it's because of Lorraine, but I'm just...
Hey,
Yeah.
one more thing. How sweet was Jordan's swing in baseball? Man, did that guy have a swing.
Sweet.
It was all right.
It was
had a good swing.
It
He's
was
got a better-
consistent.
he's got a
That's
better
one
golf
thing I did
swing.
like. At least he was consistent.
Yeah.
The stroke was there, but I mean, it's not. I watched a lot of that, thinking like, who does that remind me of? And I couldn't
Kenny
find
Lofton?
anything. Huh?
Maybe Kenny Lofton.
That's a pretty good comparison. I would agree with that. I just think like going the baseball side of it. I mean, Francona was saying that he would have probably played in the majors or whatever else, and I don't know. We could argue that, but I mean the work ethic part can't be argued. And Jordan's sitting there getting mad. He's like, I had blisters on my hand, and going on and on about it, and telling more and more about how he worked, and the hitting coach saying the same thing, him showing up and staying afterwards. I mean, he put in the work, and he went from the 13-game hitting streak to, there was at one point he struck out 8 times in a row, but he ended up bringing his average up. It was low. He ended up bringing it back up. I know it was only 202, but
didn't it start like 115?
it got
was
pretty
like-
low at one
yeah,
point.
it was
Yeah.
super low.
So
Yeah, I don't care what the documentary said. I don't think there's any way MJ makes it to the majors. How long? It doesn't matter how long he was in the minors. I just don't think.
I
He was
agree
good
with you. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, before you called, I was talking about the Space Jam workouts and how fun that would be to be able to watch any of those. I just don't think it's the idea that there's only that 90 seconds of video footage. I think is one kind of weird, because wouldn't there be an extra camera somewhere on the Warner Brothers lot? And two, if Jordan is really doing this to scout players and to see how the next generation is playing, you would think he'd sneak in a camera or something. But hey, who knows?
What year was this again?
95.
They didn't have cameras on everybody back then. That wasn't even a
But
thought.
he says he's like he invited these guys to come play with him. Like Jawan Howard lived with him
Yeah.
in L.A. and he's like he and this is how he met Rodman, and they ended up signing Rodman after playing with him. Supposedly the director of Space Jam was like, you guys should sign Rodman. He's like taking credit for pushing Rodman to the Bulls.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
I need to watch this whole thing.
but no, it wasn't in that. Just a
Oh, it
little
wasn't.
bonus that I bring to the show, Bomber.
You're good at that.
So,
Good at your bonuses.
Erickson, thank you so
Best
much.
laugh out loud. Oh yeah.
Oh, the laugh out loud was
Best thing on
fantastic.
that. The best laugh out loud moment of last night when he's watching footage of the glove, telling
Yeah.
him that the glove could guard him. I was just rolling, man.
I was
But,
too. Those are the things that make me those are things that really make me the happiest. Just to watch him laugh and just be like, and then say, I have no problem with the glove. So, all right, buddy, you stay safe and travel. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Erickson.
Absolutely. Love you guys. Love the
Love
show.
you.
Take care. Yep. All right, that's Erickson calling in with a little bit of a. Later on, we'll do a Back to the Future segment. Yeah, the laugh out loud moment with the glove is fantastic. I got a couple more stories to tell you guys about.
After the break, though?
Yeah, episode 7 and 8, some things. So we're going to have to take a quick break, though. We'll be right back. Don't hassle us, we're local.
Tim Hernandez wants you to focus on new and fun ways to get fit for yourself and your family. ID Life wants you to be healthier, have more energy, get better sleep, and achieve more focus. ID Life is a health and wellness company that is revolutionizing the industry with customized nutrition. The ID Life name stands for Individually Designed Life and was founded on the principle that no two people are alike, so everyone has unique nutritional needs. Tim Hernandez is your guy in the Quad Cities to offer you personalized guidance that is tailored specifically to your health factors and personal goals. Do you have health problems that may be holding you back? The doctors and scientists develop what nutrients you should be taking and what supplements will benefit you the most. Go to qchealth.idlife.com to sign up for an unconditional, no questions asked, 30-day money-back guarantee. Call Tim Hernandez today at 563-508-7221 so he can show you that what makes ID Life different is you.
You like that? You like that?
Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
This is Brian Rothenberger, radio guy for the Quad City Storm. You're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Car old? Need it sold? Get rid of that old car and do a good deed at the same time. It's the Arrowhead Ranch Annual Auto Auction coming soon to Coal Valley. That's right, it's back. Donate your car, truck, SUV, or motorcycle, and if you live within 40 miles of Coal Valley, they will even pick it up, even if it doesn't run. All donations are tax deductible. Call 309-799-7044 or visit them online at arrowheadyouth.org. Car old? Need it sold? Arrowhead Ranch Annual Auto Auction. Stay tuned for an auction date in Coal Valley.
The Will Kane Show.
Joe Judge became head coach of the New York Giants. As I walked up today in the hallways, Mike A gave me that good to see you smile, but it's more like a wince because Nuno was nearby. We weren't really worried about anger so much as hurt feelings.
It was an apologetic look, like you'd see when you know somebody's had a rough day, like, how you holding up, big guy? How you doing, champ?
Wait a minute. We're all about honesty here. No one's like that. We want to see each other miserable. Like, that's what everyone was hoping for, is that I would be miserable, because it would have just been great for this show, right? Like, I would have to produce this show, and on a Monday after Jason Garrett's just sitting here clapping away, and then I can't even speak.
And just out of curiosity, not for any personal interest of mine or Mike A's or Bubba's, how miserable are you?
The Will Kane Show, 2 till 5 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
We will get our momentum back. Our business is back, our smiles back, ourselves back. Because that's what this community does. At First Midwest Bank, we want to thank our colleagues for doing everything they can to help our clients and our communities get through this. Because we are all in this together. And together, we will get our momentum back. First Midwest Bank. Visit firstmidwest.com. Member FDIC.
Gulick and Wingo.
I'm done with all you coaches talking about how you don't like the transfer portal. You can all stick it as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's getting ridiculous about how you can do what you want, and that's cool. Again, I'm fine with that, but I absolutely think that a player should have one freebie move, and I'm done with you coaches and talking about that. You know, and players being able to have a little bit of movement on their side.
Coaches need to be a lot smarter on how they
a lot
address
quieter,
that.
You know?
Gulick and Wingo. Mornings on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM. The Will Kane Show.
Pippen may have been one of the best players in NBA history, but he played under one of the worst contracts in sports memory. Scottie Pippen was Michael Jordan's wingman. He was his Robin. Pippen is underappreciated. Michael Jordan said, every time my name comes up, Scottie Pippen's should come up. Pippen signed an extension with the Chicago Bulls. He signed a 7-year deal that essentially paid him a little over $2 million a year. 7-year, $18 million deal. And it became one of the worst contracts in the NBA. Pippen was the 122nd highest paid player in the league, the 6th highest paid player on the Bulls, and it ate at Scottie. It bothered him.
The Will Kane Show, 2 till 5 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM. It doesn't matter what side of the river you're on. Your local Quad City sports show is right here. Don't hassle us, we're local. 12 to 2 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Oh boy, we are back, everybody, in the Hassle Castle, brought to you by Dunright Satellite and Dish.
Last night we got episodes 7 and 8 of The Last Dance. Next week is going to be 9 and 10. There's going to be, I know 9 is more of a focus on Steve Kerr. The director, Jason Hare, was on with Jalen Jacoby, their podcast. He said at the end of 9 there'll be a quote from Larry Bird that will blow up on the internet. I don't know. But speaking of quotes, Brad Botkin of the CBS Sports did the top 10 best quotes of last night. And some we kind of talked about. He looked at he put a number 1 from Reggie Miller, which was near the end of episode 8. We all looked at the Bulls as a standard model of success. They were considered the best at that time. But we felt, and I feel to this day, we were the better team. The whole thing is there was whispers that this was going to be Mike's last year. So I think a perfect storm was brewing. In my mind, I was thinking, this is it. You're going to retire Michael Jordan.
Reggie didn't retire anything.
Couldn't
even beat your sister.
He put the quote on there about that he wouldn't, from Scottie Pippen, that he wouldn't change, Scottie Pippen wouldn't change what happened. He said, it's one of those incidents that I wish it never happened, but if I had the chance to do it over again, I probably wouldn't change it. The gloves comment. A lot of people backed down to Mike. I didn't. I made it a point. I said, just tire him out. Tire the F out of him. And I kept hitting him and banging him and hitting him and banging him, and it took a toll on Mike. It took a toll, and the series changed. I wish I could have did it earlier. I don't know if the outcome would have been any different, but it was a difference, me guarding him and beating him down a little bit. That's when Jordan looks at he's watching it live on the iPad and then laughs. The quote David Falk has to Jerry Reinsdorf, you're not going to believe this, but Michael wants to retire. And then he also wrote back his own press release, I'm back. The Frank Conan thing, in my opinion, with 1,500 at-bats, he would have found a way to get to the major leagues. Again, this is Brad Botkin of the CBS Sports writing about the top 10 quotes. The one you brought up, T. Roy, from Will Perdue, let's not get it wrong. He was an a-hole. He was a jerk. He crossed that line numerous times. But as time goes on, you think back about what he was actually trying to accomplish. You're like, yeah, he was a hell of a teammate. The LeBradford Smith story tomorrow in the first half, I'm going to have what this kid had in the game. And Jordan talking about the comeback game, how you did not have a very good game against the Pacers. It goes to Pacers, Atlanta Hawks, then New York Knicks are his first 3 games back. Doesn't have a good game against Pacers, hits the game winner against Atlanta, and then drops 55 on the Knicks. He said, I was nervous. I hadn't played competitive in a long time. I felt naked because my father wasn't there.
Aww.
Jerry Krause talking about Tony Kukoc when he introduces him, talks about the number 7, how popular it is, and then he says a lot of youngsters want to be like Tony.
You know who Kukoc reminds me of is the burger guy, the comic book.
Archie?
Yeah, Archie.
Jughead?
Jughead.
That's a good call.
Jughead.
Don't miss a thing without the ring, the Bulls 95-96 slogan. I want to tell you just 2 more quick stories.
That brings something up to me. When you say doesn't mean a thing, they had it on the hat.
Mm-hmm.
They had the best record ever.
Yep.
On the hat doesn't mean a thing without the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go on to say later on in that docuseries, if you look at the facts or the stats,
yeah,
they said the Bulls that season, with playoffs and all, ended up with the all-time greatest winning percentage of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Who was number 2? And I already said it was the Golden State Warriors, 16-17, who regular season record by 1 game beat the Bulls.
Yeah.
So 74-9, I believe, instead of 73-10.
Sure.
But guess
72-10.
But it did mean a thing because they didn't win that ring.
Yeah, you're right.
You follow me? I'm telling you right now, the greatest team of all time.
And that's like arguing that Hillary won the popular vote. Oh, it's the same. It's the ring. Kiss the ring.
Close, but right, whatever. I don't know where your correlation was.
You know where I'm coming from.
Well, I hear you, but I don't think it was correlated.
So they
stop.
Jason Hare, the director, tells
I'm having a tough time. I'm gonna start going Biff on you if you don't watch it.
Jason Hare tells 2 stories that is not in the documentary. One was brought up by Jalen Rose, a question, and Jason Hare's like, I wouldn't ask that question, but I can answer it for you. The other one was, where did the best friend come from? The personal assistant, George. You remember that?
Yeah, the guy who would depict his dad.
There's very few changes that Jordan makes in the documentary. He put in, by request, the Atlanta Hawks game. He goes, that's the you need to put between the Pacers and the 55 game, all right, the double nickel. He says you need to put that in because that's when I knew I was back. I knew I was back competitively. The old MJ was back. All right, so he says you go back and watch that game, put it in. He makes very few changes. The other thing was when you interviewed George, personal assistant and Michael Jordan's best friend, and that was from Jordan. Here's the story. Jordan makes it to Chicago after he's drafted. He's coming to the city for the first time. He's going to go to the practice facility. He's going to in the hotel that's close to it. He flies by himself to Chicago. He gets off. The guy who's supposed to pick him up is not there. His driver. George goes up to him and says, "Are you Larry Jordan?" Larry Jordan, he says. And he goes, no, I'm Michael Jordan. He goes, you look like you need a ride. He said, yeah. He goes, the guy I was supposed to pick up isn't here. I'll give you a ride. Go ahead and get my limo. Michael, brand new to the city, doesn't know anyone, doesn't know much of anything, just talks with them the entire time. Hey, where do I go to get a haircut? I know a place down the street. You wanted me to take you there? I got time. Takes him there. They create a friendship from that point forward.
I love that.
Really?
Yeah.
This
He was
is
a
the
driver,
best
just
story
happened to come
ever.
across and called him his brother. Like he knew his brother as an athlete. Are you Larry Jordan? Because we talked about in episode 1, Larry that. So that's how, and he said he wants it in there. That's his best friend. He only has a few people. Like his dad was one of his best friends as well. We know that, but
They
and
get
Ahmad
on.
Rashad is one of his best friends. And then the other thing, what Jalen asks is like, how did he play with his tongue out? Why did he play with his tongue out?
Don't
Got that
we
from
all?
his dad.
He did. He got it from his
dad-
father.
When his dad used to work on stuff, he'd always have his tongue out, like when he'd be like doing stuff in the garage, working on because his dad did like mechanic stuff a lot.
He did mechanic stuff a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and he always
His
had his
dad
tongue out.
also built the entire second floor of their house. They were running out of room, and he ripped off the roof by himself, put a tarp over it, and when Michael would help him and watch him do things, the dad's tongue would be out, and he
So do
started
you think
mimicking
it was a conditioning thing, or do
Yeah.
you think it was inherited?
I think he wanted to be like his dad so much.
Oh,
he
that he
really
just
kind of
kinda
mimicked
mimicked
it.
You can tell that family structure for Michael was
tight.
so solid from the show. I mean, his mom to this day is still.
So what was it,
important.
7th grade or 9th grade that they said he was suspended 3 times? And then
Yeah.
they were like, you're going down the wrong path. Figure it out. And then that sports just became...
Well, they just told him. I said, you start screwing up again, you can't play your sports because they knew he loved his sports.
Yeah.
Mike, you keep screwing up, you're done.
Yeah,
And
it's
he-
just
and
hard
he
for me to
fixed it.
even imagine him screwing up because he's, to me,
but
in
the
my
thing
mind,
is, and that's
on a
the thing
pedestal.
about it. That makes I think we're seeing the things that make him human now.
Yeah, after the
I
fact,
knew about all the
easy.
times he lost. I mean, that's what made it great. The times you saw the hunger and you knew why the hunger was. For me, like as a kid growing up, watching him lose to the Celtics, watching him lose to the Pistons, and when he finally got over, I'm like, he'll never lose unless he wants to lose again. And then when he came back, I'm like, oh, is he ready? Is he ready? Like that time they said, Nick Anderson got behind him and stole the rock. I'm like, he wasn't quite ready. And then after that, I go, this is going to be crazy. That season, I knew was going to be nuts. I just, in my head, being a Jordan fan, I'm like, it's going to be, he's going to do some incredible stuff. Now, did I think they were going to break the record of all time? No, I didn't call that. But once the season started going, you were like, ooh.
They're on
Especially when you
course
knew when they
to
brought
do
in
so.
Rodman. I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It's going to be sick. And it was. It was just, I
Dream
just
team.
remember the entire time. It was just so awesome to
It's
be
beautiful.
an NBA fan then. And that is why I probably don't like the NBA as much now. It's because there's nothing that compelling to me.
No.
There's no players that have that push, that drive.
Love for the game.
How many times have you heard it over and over on this, Jay? Michael wanted to be there for the fans every night.
Oh, yeah. There would
you
be
just
no...
don't see that. Out of
No,
anybody.
There would
they
be no
want
load
money.
management.
They want money.
He
They want
said that.
exposure.
There's
They
gonna
want
be someone who's never
sponsors.
seen it.
They want.
Yeah.
It's become very political. It's become very.
But load management is like,
It's shallow.
I'd rather just get the championship at the end, not during the season. I can take time off. I can take plays off. LeBron saved his legs the entire last season, because he knew they weren't going to go anywhere, so he would play it in spurts. Now he was logging more minutes this year, but he saved himself up for it. I mean, he did, what we considered the right thing. There was also a really good point today by Simmons and Russillo about Jordan's mentality, okay, and Kobe's mentality. The
Same.
Same Mamba mentality. Here's where the
Close.
difference is.
Very
No,
close.
it's very much the
Very
same.
close, yeah.
It,
About the
like,
same.
I mean, Kobe says, "I don't have 5 without Jordan. Jordan taught me everything." Now, the difference is the mentality. Is Jordan may have in practice done these things, been ultra competitive. He just didn't label it. Kobe came out and said, I have this Mamba mentality.
Yes.
And he told everybody the entire mentality that Jordan taught him without having to tell everybody. Jordan just had his close friends.
Kobe
and said
was a salesman.
He wasn't letting any secrets out. Jordan's just saying, this is what you're doing if you're on the team. You're going to work. I'm going to work. Basically, I'm not going to ask you to do anything I'm not going to do. And if you can, try to work as hard as I do. But,
There's
I don't
a level
wanna
of
lose.
humility there that doesn't exist anymore.
And that's a really interesting point. Some people, and maybe that's why more people flock to Jordan over Kobe.
That's exactly why.
It's the humility.
See?
It's the subtleness.
Yeah.
And there's nothing
Well,
nothing against Kobe or anything like that. It's just
I still say to this day that Kobe was the closest thing we've seen to Jordan
Yes,
is Kobe,
I agree.
hands down.
I agree with that.
And to me, Kobe's the second best player of all time.
But there's an air about Jordan that Kobe did not possess. There's that leadership air that I humble and I don't have to say anything because you can see it in my actions. There's that about him. Like my son's 5. He knows who Michael Jordan is. He does not know who Kobe Bryant is. He does not know who LeBron James is. He was not alive during Michael Jordan, so how does he know?
Because you love Michael Jordan.
Well, he's been taught. He's seen the things that I watch. He's paid attention, and he's a legend. He's the GOAT. And that's what we teach in my house.
You go, Mom.
That's right.
Day after Mom's Day. Telling them how it is.
MJ, baby, all day.
Yeah, Jay, we were touching on something else in that.
Sure.
Kind of going along the lines of how... God, what was I talking about with the... you were kind of... Him being... The jerk or the guy that like he said, I'm not going to make you do anything I effing wouldn't effing do or all that stuff. And then, we're kind of talking about his dad, like his work ethic and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think all that came from his dad.
I think so too.
Like everything.
His dad was an amazing man, I think.
And I think the death of his father
kicked him back a few notches.
I still say to this day, if his father's still alive, I don't think Michael retires at the second time.
I think you're right. I agree with that.
I wonder if they.
You mean you would have said make it? These are all good points, though. Go on.
I agree with that.
Because they were just talking.
Because here's his dad.
Charles Barkley was talking about this today. Go on now. Yeah.
And I'm just recklessly speculating here. So
I agree with you.
But think about things Mike said. His dad said, take a negative and turn it into a positive. So here's what his dad sets him down. In my eyes, what his dad would have sat Mike down and told him to do. Because the only person that would tell Mike anything and Mike would do it would be his dad.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So his dad says, all right, Mike, who's ruining this for you? Krause. Well, what do? You either tell Jerry to get rid of Jerry, or you go. And they're already getting rid of Phil.
Ooh.
If you're going anywhere Phil goes,
yeah,
go have some fun. And go somewhere where you can teach.
I think it would have coached.
And then win championships down the line. You follow me here?
Yeah.
Think about this. Michael would have went to the Lakers.
Ooh.
With Phil. Michael, Kobe, and Shaq.
Oh, forget about it. Second dream team right there.
Mike playing with that, okay?
Yeah.
Make Krause pay. And if Michael makes him and Phil a combined thing, or let's just say Mike, Phil, and Scotty can all go somewhere. I don't know.
It.
That's a lot of dreaming right there. But you
I
follow
like
me here.
it.
The Lakers do that.
I like that.
And they go on to win 3 straight right there. Easy, if not 4.
I think that probably would be the number one destination.
I think
the Lakers?
Too.
Yeah,
for sure.
maybe
nice call.
His dad tells him, make it a positive. You can still play. Look at these young guys. Look at this guy. Look at this guy, Mike. You can help mold this guy. You're playing with one of the other best.
You probably would have gone.
You got
with
one of the best centers, and you can go with Phil.
And Jerry Buss would have paid him. See, so Charles Barkley was just on Lebitard's show before we came on, and he said that this entire series, Reinsdorf just been backing that Buss over and over across his dead body, burying him. He's like, it was Reinsdorf. He didn't want to pay anybody. He didn't pay anybody. Right. It wasn't until the last 2 years that Michael made money. He was making $33 million.
Yeah, Reinsdorf was no saint out of this, and this documentary is really throwing everything onto Krause because Michael hated Krause. Because Reinsdorf did do a few things for Michael. That's why he's not throwing him under the bus.
Mm-hmm. Yet.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But I mean, to this.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. I think
if his dad's still alive, he maybe helps lead him down a different path.
I think you're right. I agree with that.
Mike, go where you don't have to quite be the man, but you can still play with Phil.
You still be the influence behind the win. Yeah.
Because when he does end up coming back, he ends up coming back not playing for Phil.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he just came back because he was bored.
No, not in a Laker uniform. Coaching, helping. Leading.
No, but yeah, I think he would.
Yeah, no, he was going to be in a Laker uniform.
Oh, really? Okay, I don't know about that.
But
what do you mean you don't know about that?
That's what you just said.
That's what I said. He would have not missed.
I agree.
Any time he would have came back and played.
I just don't want to see it. It hurts me.
Well, there's a lot.
Well, he wasn't coming back to the Bulls, sister.
Yeah, they were.
Listen,
they were moving on.
as much as I want him to stay at the
We all
Bulls,
knew
the
that when
only
Phil
way
left,
he comes back to the Bulls is if Jerry Krause falls off a cliff.
Yeah, Phil and Jordan were.
But Phil and Jordan would go if they were going to go somewhere together. I think that's where his dad could have probably talked.
I kind of wish this would have happened just so we could have seen it play.
There's
out.
another story out there, real quick, before we take a break, that Jalen Rose said, and I'd have to look back at the draft, and Stocking's out there as well, that Jalen Rose talked to Jerry Krause the night before the 95 draft. 94 draft, because that was the last 94, because that was the last year of 94 was the last year of the Fab Five, or did Jalen stay another year? It doesn't matter. Webster went 94, Jalen. Either way, and they were going to trade Pippen, and they were going to trade away Pippen for Sean Kemp, and then they were going to draft Jalen Rose. And when Michael would have come back, he would have had Kemp, Rose, himself, and then eventually Rodman. Think about that too. That group. But it didn't play out. He didn't make that trade for Sean Kemp, and he didn't.
Those two don't add up to Pippen. Not
still
my
would
eyes,
have
I'm sorry.
Still would have been pretty sick.
Sean
team.
Kemp could jump through the roof, but he wasn't Scotty.
He was no 33.
No. I think he had 33 kids, though.
He probably did.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll just take a look at some of the MLB, their restart plan that they supposedly are going to submit. CBS Sports' R.J. Anderson has highlighted some of the major items from there, but we're going to have to take a quick break before we do that. Then we're going to do our Back to the Future, and we got a little Metal Monday. We got a little education
Just another
coming on.
Metal Monday.
Fun times here in the Hassle Castle. Brought to you by Dunright Security and Satellite. This is ESPN 1170 AM.
Let me tell you about Bayside Bistro in the village of East Davenport. Bayside Bistro is not your ordinary sandwich shop. You won't find deli meat on their menu. They use fresh ingredients only, and orders are made to order from scratch. From paninis like the Bayside Po' Boy to the roasted beet and green bean salad, Bayside Bistro has an incredible menu that specializes in what, Troy?
Deliciousness.
That's right. And don't forget about their smoothies and fresh juices that they make and their incredible dinner entrees. Don't take our word for it, though. Go check out their Facebook page and read the over 500 recommendations from guests. Stop by Bayside Bistro today at 1105 Christie Street in the East Village of Davenport.
You like that? You like that?
Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
Hey, this is Dorf with Dancing with the QC Stars. You're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Escúchame, it is Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Brooks Koepka put up a picture yesterday of a steak with asparagus. And then Christian Smith sees this photograph and says, meanwhile, people can't make their bills, but it's so nice you have an expensive dinner. Christian Smith doubles down with tone deaf. And Brooks Koepka comes back at him with, what have you done to help, big guy? And then here's the third person entering the mix. Scott Van Pelt makes an appearance and says, the guy is having a steak. You're really doing this? Why are people like this? It's such a good question. Why are people like this? Guillermo put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Why are people like this? Yes or no?
I think it's the asparagus. I mean,
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
We will get our momentum back. Our business is back, our smiles back, ourselves back. Because that's what this community does. At First Midwest Bank, we want to thank our colleagues for doing everything they can to help our clients and our communities get through this. Because we are all in this together. And together, we will get our momentum back. First Midwest Bank. Visit firstmidwest.com. Member FDIC.
And now an old classic commercial from Mark Brenny.
Hi, I'm Mark Brenny, owner of Brenny's Motorcycle Clinic in Bettendorf. I'm often asked, how do you come up with those creative commercials for your motorcycle shop? Well, come along into the radio think tank and see for yourself just how it's done. Okay, we need a new ad for our Suzuki ATVs. Anybody got any ideas?
Okay, Mark, here I got it. Here's the top 10 reasons to buy a new Suzuki ATV from Brenny's. All right, number 1, they're good for picking up girls while you're deer hunting. running.
Nah, that's overused on TV. How about this? Your wife wants some new jewelry. You want an ATV. My name is Mark Brenny, and if I say that idea stinks, it stinks. Nope, seems like I've heard that somewhere before. Anyone else?
Yeah, boss, I got one. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jill bitched the whole way down, so Jack traded her for a new four-wheeler at Brenny's in Bettendorf.
Well, as you can see, it takes a lot of brain power to write good commercials. But you know, Suzuki ATVs sell themselves. Check them out at Brenny's Motorcycle Clinic in Bettendorf. ATVs are for those 16 years and older. A rider course is recommended. We'll even pay for it.
Golick and Wingo.
Obviously, we all want sports to be back as soon as it can be and the fans packed. But, the other part is, will the fans be willing to be packed, right? I mean, that's part of this process. And we saw that survey where 70+% of them were saying, hey, until there's a vaccine, I don't think I'm going to be rubbing elbows with people that I don't know.
Well, and I think that's the other part of this is until there's a vaccine, and we've heard the timeline of that for that originally was 12 to 18 months, and we've heard some signs that we might be further along in that process and getting towards something like that. Like, that's when you're talking about anything even closely resembling the old normal, right? Like,
correct.
You're not packing stadiums or anything even close to that until you've got a vaccine, because the flu doesn't go away. Like, that's the one comparison I'm sort of okay with making with the flu at this point, considering what a cluster that was for a while. Like, it doesn't go away, but you just have the means to control things a little better.
Golick and Wingo, mornings on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Trade pros. Whether you specialize in service or new construction, Ferguson knows firsthand how much work goes into a long day on the job, which is why we're committed to offering the products and solutions to get every job done right. With over 1,000 locations, an unmatched selection of specialty products, tools, and supplies, our pro pickup and same or next day delivery, you can trust that doing business with Ferguson will be the easiest part of your hard day's work. Visit Ferguson.com to find a counter location near you.
Not the same old song and dance. New and different every day. Don't hassle us. We're local. Noon till 2 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Welcome back. Don't Have Us, we're local here on ESPN 1170 AM. I want to remind you that in just 2 weeks, our friends at Hidden Hills Golf Course are going to have their Memorial Day tournament. You're going to have to call for a tee time, though. It's not going to be a shotgun start that we're used to normally having when we go to golf tournaments. Any tee times vary between 7, anytime between 7 and noon, but you call ahead out there at 563-332-5616 to set up a tee time. It's a 4-man best ball. They'll have all the information that you need to have as far as entry fee and everything, but that's in 2 weeks. And until then, when the weather is not, and it's looking like it's going to get real nice this week. In 70s, even as high as at 80, I saw T-Roy.
Yeah.
You can get out there and play at Hidden Hills. They're making sure they're doing everything you can, and they encourage social distancing as well. But, they have the raised pins, and make sure you can do curbside paying and get in there, and you can take a card, you can walk, but you can call it there for rates as well. And they don't forget that they also have a practice area and 4 bonus holes out there. That's just north of the TBK Plex at 4335 Indiana Avenue in Bettendorf, Iowa. Go to hiddenhills-golf.com for more information. Call 563-332-5616. Ask for Big Mike. Tell him Quad City QC Hassel sent you there. All right, Major League Baseball is trying to figure out their way, what they're going to do to get the season up and running. They've got an idea. I believe it came out on Saturday. That was kind of the bigger thing yesterday, when people are saying that it's looking like they're going to suggest that there will be a universal DH.
Way to go.
Yeah. It's... Per sources are saying that the DH will be used in both leagues in order to spare pitchers from additional fatigue and wear and tear. It will be a season of 80 or so games, beginning early July. Teams would only face division rivals and the same geographic divisions in other leagues to keep games regional. Teams would open the season in as many home parks as possible, trying to cut down on travel, but So as many as they can. So as long as the governor and local authorities allow them to open up, they're going to try to get to as many home parks as possible. An expanded postseason format would send 7 teams to the playoffs per league. There are some things though that need to be addressed, and that's going to be things like testing. So MLB would need to be able to test the players, coaches, front office execs, any essential personnel, and so that'll be likely require tens of thousands of tests per month. You also have to figure out how they're going to do these things when you're watching on TV. There probably won't be like instant replay because you can't put people in the booth for that. There'll be very little. The camera angles won't be nearly as extreme. The guys calling the games will probably be remote. They won't be actually in the booth. There won't be like beat writers allowed. Probably if you're covering for the Kansas City Royals and they play the Chicago White Sox, you're probably not allowed to go interview the White Sox after the game. You're probably just stuck taking what you can. Basically, I guess relying more on the SIDs than anything else. If you look at how the Korean Baseball Organization, which returned to action last week, did it, they banned spitting and barehanded high fives.
Oh, I'm sorry, wait, will you repeat that, please?
Yeah, the Korean Baseball Organization banned spitting.
You cannot spit?
And barehanded high fives.
You cannot high five.
Might be something that Major League Baseball might have to look into.
What about fist pumps?
I don't. They said barehanded. I'm just reading. It says barehanded. That's all.
Stop it.
The KBO, the Korean Baseball Organization, has a plan that any player who tests positive for COVID-19 will have to be quarantined while the league is shut down for 3 weeks. There's probably going to have to be another type of plan from MLB as well.
I can't handle this.
Other things would be like, what will the schedule look like? How frequently are we going to see double headers? Like the traveling, everything we just talked about, how they're probably going to keep it close. The MLBPA is going to have to okay all of this, though. That's going through.
So do we know if Kim Jong-un is alive or?
They said there was a sighting.
Oh, there's a sighting.
I heard that he set it up to catch people from
see who was against him?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I heard that.
Well, population control. I get it. Jeez. North
Other
Korea.
suggestions that may or may not be introduced: no mound visits during the game.
No mound visits.
Pitching changes would be done from the dugout.
What if you hold the glove over your face like this?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed. That's what you do. Yeah. No first and third base coaches on the field.
Same as a mask.
So.
Okay, wait. Say that again.
No first or third base coaches.
Oh, Lord help us.
Who's going to take your shin guard off when you get to first base after you bat? Who's going to hold that for you? You're going to have to call timeout, run it to the dugout yourself, and then get it back over there?
Yeah. What if you come into contact with the baseball player and, you're both going for the same ball? You call it, and then what? Somebody's just got to back off. You can't get
or else you're banned. Yeah.
6 feet, we're done.
Yeah, you're out.
You're thrown out of the game. Wow.
Well, they have to come up with something. I mean,
no, they don't.
Well, they do, or else people get upset. And
let
like
people
I said,
get upset.
Charles Barkley was on. He said cancel. He said people are getting sick. It depends. It just depends where you fall on all of this. That's all.
Troy, where you at, brother?
Oh, I'm getting my.
All right,
I'm getting my stuff ready.
Early in the show, I said I watched Back to the Future this weekend, and I said, you know what? What if you changed a sporting event in history, and how would it affect sports as we know it? If you could go back in time, you changed one. The butterfly effect, if you will. The Marty McFly. And
you know what happens when Biff gets that thing?
What happens when Biff gets that thing?
He ends up marrying Lorraine.
Hey. Are we getting married?
In one of the versions we did.
Oh, when he gets the whole the
when he gets
almanac?
Biff Towers, yeah.
Okay, I want nothing less than a 3 carat.
That's Back to the Future, too.
Don't worry, I get to buy you all kinds of things.
Yeah, that's Back to the Future, too. All right. So,
what are you looking at, Butthead?
Erickson brought up an interesting
This is why
point.
I call him
I'm going to call Jay Butthead the entire time.
Yeah. That he said the Packers versus the Browns in October 2013, Jermichael Finley suffers an injury that takes him out, and he goes fast forward to January 18th of 2015. That undrafted free agent tight end, I forget the name already, Bostic, I believe, dropped a onside kick. The Seahawks go down and score. And then they go on to the Super Bowl, which they end up losing to New England. But he says in this scenario, because of this, Jermichael Finley's there, he would have been an all-pro. The Packers would have won that game, would have beaten the Patriots, and Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT.
Okay.
I honestly, just when in my head, just to change things, it was real fast. He did a good job looking at things, and I just thought of the trade for Babe Ruth never happens.
Wait, huh?
Well, Babe Ruth was a Boston Red Sox.
Right.
They traded him for the rights to Broadway play.
And $100,000.
$100,000 to the New York Yankees.
God.
And thus solidifying the Yankees for years and all their World Series titles and everything else and their reputation for years and years and years. So that's what, if it's just off the top of my head, I'm like, they don't develop themselves as the New York Yankees. The Red Sox never have the curse of the Bambino. Bill Buckner never happens.
I don't like this game at
The
all.
2003 never happens. There's no Bucky Dent game. There's no.
Well, I'm going into. Yeah, you're going pretty deep.
Yeah, there's no Aaron Boone game.
I don't like
The
it.
Red Sox are the bullies, and the Yankees are just the Spankies.
See, I've been working on one scenario.
Okay.
And there's another one that I would love to work on too, but I haven't, because I wanted to go in depth.
Yeah, we can brainstorm it. Yeah. But mine is that the Yankees are not the Yankees anymore because of that. I went back in history and changed that that trade.
Remember, we came up with some names last week, Leah.
Did we?
So
I wasn't
remember how,
here.
like Karen was getting traction, but we've already told everybody that Barb
is better. Yeah,
Barb is way better.
She's the new Karen.
And we came up with, like, if you're a boy jerk or a male jerk, you're a Jerry, because I figured out that Jerry, the name Jerry, screwed me twice in the 90s.
Oh, okay. So Jerry
too.
Ryan, Jerry Krause, and Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
So
Jerry-
I go back to the first one to start.
Okay.
So to
Jerry.
so that way that my 90s can continue to be rocking. And
You
then
keep interrupting my joke, by the way.
Oh.
It's all right. It's fine. The
You
moment
need
is
to
past.
deliver it better then.
The moment is past. I was
what
gonna
joke?
say,
You need to deliver it
I
better.
was gonna say Jerry screwed me twice in college, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
That's a good joke.
Welcome. I love
All
you.
right.
Never-
So I
I've
go
never
back,
known a
Jay.
Jerry, but-
I have to go back to the end of the 93-94 football season. NFL season.
94. Okay.
Dallas was getting ready to win a back-to-back title. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Bills for the second time down in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Somehow, Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson get in a feud.
I like it.
I don't know why.
Let's pretend it's over
How
a female.
all this winning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Can
real
get
simple. Who's going to get the recognition? Organization or coach or
All right.
Aikman and
At
Smith?
the time, Jimmy Johnson had the final call on our personnel. Jimmy Johnson was very good with personnel. Jimmy Johnson did build that dynasty.
And he was freaky fast. Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, you know.
You get it?
All right, I get it. All right. So what I did is I go back and I show Jerry
Show him.
what the future is without Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I show Jerry what the future is without Jimmy, so that he changes his mind
Okay.
and understands what could become and what will become.
I like it.
So then, Jerry and Jimmy continue this love relationship. They fall back in love. Everything's cool. They sit down. Everything's great. So Dallas goes on. They obviously win the 93-94 Super Bowl. The next year, instead of losing in the playoffs, which the Dallas did in the NFC Championship to the 49ers,
Yep.
you have a better coached team because you have Jimmy Johnson. You don't have loosey-goosey Barry Switzer.
Is that how was he known in the circle?
Yeah.
Aikman
Aikman said he had no. Aikman said we lost all discipline because when Switzer came in, the discipline was gone. So we don't have
goosey call, and everyone's like,
they don't have the 3 turnover game in that
loosey-goosey.
NFC Championship
Okay.
game. Dallas goes on to win that NFC Championship game and beats the hell out of the San Diego Chargers to win 3 straight. Well, we all know that Switzer came back the next year and Dallas did win 4 straight, but Jimmy would have won that too. So Dallas wins 4 straight Super Bowls. So Steve Young never gets a Super Bowl or a Super Bowl MVP. So right now we're at 4 straight Super Bowls. And why not make it 5? Because that's how Jimmy was. Jimmy was very competitive. And guess who would have won that Super Bowl in that 96-97 season? That was it. Yeah, they're going to. Jay, they are. Yeah, it is hard, but not with Jimmy Johnson. And by the way, I'm going to show you what they did. That year they beat the to-become Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers and Brett Favre.
Who?
21-6.
No idea.
How many in a row have you just given them?
I'm giving them 5 straight.
That's 15 games. That's even if they get a bye every year. That's a whole season that you've added to them while everyone else is playing. Like
I'm with Jay. Jimmy Johnson. Okay, hey, it's my future. Don't
Jimmy
you tell me
Johnson.
what I can and can't do in my future.
pretty
No, you let him go on with one little.
It was pretty
dude.
good, though.
Yeah, well, mine's pretty good, too.
I mean, I understand he reached a little bit further when he called him Aaron Rodgers the GOAT. He reached it, but yeah.
I'm not
undisputed GOAT.
I don't think I'm reaching far. Jimmy Johnson doesn't let this team fall apart. It doesn't decline. It wins 5 straight. And Favre and Young never get their titles.
Ooh.
All that Cowboy team needed was the leadership of Jimmy Johnson on it.
How does that feel? Let that sink in for a second.
True.
How does that feel?
Feels great. If it happens. Feels great. And then on the next one, I'm going to go back to. I haven't decided what I'm going to do first. If I'm either going to go back and save Jeffrey Jordan.
Are you?
Or do we let those events transpire because it did create a fire or things for Mike? Or do I go back and speculate? I go back and if I save him, does it create what I said earlier?
You already said that, yeah. I mean, it kind of is if you saved him, then yeah, he's more than likely going to.
What if Steve Young joined the church and never went into the NFL? You know, that was
Joe Montana stays a 49er.
That was his choice there.
Yeah, that would be that would be the big one there. The answer to that is
okay. See, change the events there.
Let me see something.
Jimmy Johnson do.
We ain't worried about no Jimmy Johnson.
We ain't worried about Jimmy Johnson.
We would have taken down your Chiefs.
I think that if I had to do, maybe I wouldn't let Jim McMahon get slammed and
he's getting
knocked
sassy
out
over here.
86 playoffs, and that way
I like
Bears,
sassy Troy.
The Bears repeat and win 5 in a row too somehow.
That Cowboy team was stacked.
There, you had
and
your
they
day.
screwed it up because they let Jimmy Johnson go.
Just real quick, going to piggyback into what you were saying there earlier, right? Mm-hmm. Pete Blackburn from CBS Sports speculated something similar that you did on last Thursday. He said about Michael Jordan, if he had played, the best fits for him to play if he 98 and 99. His number one is the Lakers. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not true. He's got the Knicks.
What?
Yeah. The Knicks. It says the Knicks went after Jordan in free agency in 1996, and they almost got him. So who's to say they couldn't have done it in 99? They would have. New York sends Allen Houston, Chris Childs, Marcus Camby, Buck Williams, and Charlie Ward to Chicago in exchange for Jordan. They would have lost out on valuable depth, but would pair a true superstar with Patrick Ewing. I don't like it.
And he would have played with Pat Riley.
They just compared Jordan to Patrick Ewing?
No.
The Lakers are number 2.
He wants to go with youth here, man. At that time, Ewing's knees are falling apart already. Jay, no. He goes to the Lakers, Shaq, and Kobe. Mm-hmm. He knows what he's playing with there.
Yeah. Agreed.
Young and strong.
The other options he had is the Heat. That's where Pat Riley was at then. At that point, he's down there, and then he's got the Hornets at 4. And I don't even want to read about Jordan being in Toronto Raptors, but no,
it's the Lakers, man.
Huh?
It's the Lakers.
It is the Lakers. You're right.
But obviously watching this show, and that is a big moment because he went on to play baseball. But it does sound like he was going to anyway.
I think he's going to go on to play baseball anyway.
But it's really more than what he does after the 97-98 season.
It just got to be the whole stress of it, the whole fact of the reporting. I mean, the book by Sam Smith was terrible, just to be nice. But the whole thing with the gambling coming up, and he was just like tired of it. He's like, I need a break. He probably still would have came back. The reason he came back, hands down, is because of the strike. So he comes back.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to cross the line.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
He wasn't going to cross the picket line.
To.
He's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right.
And then he's like, oh, look at this.
You know what? That's kind of... I do remember that, them speculating if he was going to cross and everything. And if we're sitting there talking about how Jordan doesn't take a stand for anything...
I disagree.
He
with
did
that.
right there. You know what I'm
did.
saying? If he says like, I'm not going to piss off these people, Republicans buy shoes too. If we're all going to do these lines or whatever else, he did in his own way. He just said no and walked away. He didn't sit there and he didn't hold press conference after press conference and say like, I'm doing this. He took his own stand. So I guess we can't sit there and say, he's like, well, never wanted to be a role model. I wanted to be a basketball player, that type of thing. But
yeah, when it said, but he knew what it was like to play for a players' union.
Yeah,
and what they were fighting for. He's like, no, I'm not crossing that line.
I wonder what other events out there that are like, if this happened, this wouldn't have happened, type of thing.
So many.
But yours is pretty good about Joan, because it's often talked about.
Oh, I'm going a little bit.
No. But you know what I'm saying? It's talked about, Jimmy Johnson. Like people
well,
know
listen,
that.
It's by no means they win 4 straight. I'm 100% positive they win 4 straight if Jimmy doesn't leave, because they won 3 out of 4 without Jimmy.
Yeah,
that team was that talented to win under Switzer that 4th year to get the 3rd title. They do not. They win it 4 straight. The thing is, does Jimmy have enough moxie to keep it together and win that 5th straight?
But let's do things like this. Like I don't think if Bartman doesn't attend that game, that doesn't happen. I think it still happens.
Yeah.
I think
the ball fell into Bartman's hands. There was another guy that touched it.
Yes. Like things like that. Like I don't think Lou Brock makes the Cubs a contender as much as the history of the Cubs people wanted to believe over the Lou Brock trade.
Or Bruce Sutter, because the Cubs traded Sutter too.
Yeah, but I don't think, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some out there that the whole thing of Cub fans not liking Cardinal fans because of the Lou Brock trade is not.
That's not true.
Yeah. Or I mean, it's because people put that out there. Or like, what if Pete Rose never bet? I don't know if that changed anything. If he doesn't bet, he's in the Hall of Fame. How's that? You know, if I go back in history, hey Pete, don't do this. Give me a Hall of Fame. He's still gonna bet. He's got an addiction. He's competitive.
We don't know anybody like that.
I know, but you can't gamble on games that you're in. You know, and that's the thing. And it's proven that he gambled on games that he managed in.
Okay, let's talk about Don King then. Let's talk about.
Well, here's another one. Ali's that you can sit. Ali is the greatest of all time, and he still lost 5 years fighting over the Vietnam War.
How many boxers have thrown their matches over the years?
You can't sit there and say anything about that.
That would be one. I would love to see Ali not have to give up any time.
Yeah,
and fight throughout and see what kind of record he would have had if he hadn't given up that time.
No.
The other one I would love to see, if I could go back and save Mike Tyson from Don King.
Yes.
How about this?
After Customata died, Mike Tyson took
he
a
was
turn. So is there a way to save Mike
from Don?
Yeah.
So,
no, there's no way to save him. But Gus maybe would have.
Well, could we? I don't know. Maybe I bring Mr. Diabetes with me, and then we go back to the cocoon, and I put Cuss in the cocoon. And then I bring him back. See, if we're going to cross movies, why can't I cross movies, Jay?
I didn't say you can't.
Me and Doc Brown are flying in between movies, too.
Yeah. How about Bo Jackson doesn't get that hit to his hip in the playoff game?
There's no telling what happens there.
And then you've got...
The only problem for Bo is at the time, it would have been... Man, that was during the... So he was a rookie the year of the Bears, right?
He won it in 80. He won the Heisman in 85, in December of 85.
And so the 86 Bears was the team.
They won the Super Bowl in 86. They were 85 Bears, yeah. 85 Bears.
The 85 Bears. So
Tampa Bay drafted at number 1. He didn't go.
Didn't go. He ended up going to the Raiders the following. He held out a year and then went the following year.
What was it? In the 87 draft. Yeah, in the 87 draft.
Interesting.
Anderson brings up a good one. In fall of 2001, I can't tell you the week right now, Drew Bledsoe gets hit pretty brutally going out of bounds by a New York Jet, and he gets
Tommy
replaced
Brady.
by Tom Brady. Yeah. And the other thing is that if he doesn't happen, or you tell Drew Bledsoe that you're not getting your spot back, and Drew maybe tries a little bit harder to come back. He thought he had that job. Drew did. And if you watch the E60 of him, he still to this day was like, yeah, that was my job. And then they go and they're like, there's one person who did not believe it was his job to have back, and it was Tom Brady. And Tom told people he's not getting it back. Tom Brady said he is not getting this job back. So either the hit doesn't happen, or you tell Drew Bledsoe, or you tell Drew Bledsoe, like, hey, might want to Just work a little bit harder. I don't know. I don't want to say anything about Drew Bledsoe saying they didn't work hard.
Drew Bledsoe was a great quarterback. I think he just, he got injured at the wrong time twice.
And there's, injuries. I don't know if Bledsoe was like the injury, if we're taking an injury away like Bo Jackson type of thing. Do you know what I'm saying, though?
Right. I mean, Bo Jackson was done.
If we were to sit there and be like, I'd go back in time and tell Josh Hamilton to not get addicted to crack. No, I wouldn't. I don't think that's going to change anything. I really don't, because there's going to be a relapse here and there.
Because it won't be crack, it'll be heroin next.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something.
No.
You can't change. You can't do it.
Mikey did write something, and I need to look at it again, and I can look at it at the break. I think he had the Bears drafting. If you went back in history, the Bears drafting Chicago Bears drafting Joe Montana. That's what he would change in the 79 draft. So I'd have to look at that draft.
I'm sure Vikings fans would not have made that trade for Herschel Walker with
you
the
guys,
Dallas
wait.
Cowboys.
I like Joshua Park's comment on the Harrington Facebook thread. He said, how about Vietnam never happened, and several athletes never become huge because of the losing the unknown and the known talents lost in the war. How many athletes?
It works, but it doesn't work in the scenario that we've painted.
Because we can't choose
because
who
it's a sporting historical event, and we've taken historical and said there's all kinds of athletes out there that were going to be famous or do whatever else. But
I do like that.
It does. I mean, we can take away all
you can
war.
do that with a lot of wars.
We can do it even with Ted.
You can do it when the women took
it,
over the baseball games. What if that never happened?
Well, then what would Rosie O'Fadden have done?
She wouldn't have been in a movie.
Oh, okay.
It's
weird so bad.
All right, let's take a quick break.
Oh, big head.
We'll come back. We'll wrap up this segment, and then we got another
Monsters.
segment. We've got another segment for T-Roy to introduce about another past argument from last week.
That's right, we're bringing it back.
All right.
All right, everybody. Van's Pizza and More is open out by the Plex at the corners of Forest and Middlegrove Roads. And here during the COVID-19, they've got some great specials. All during COVID panic, we're going to have $5 burger baskets, $7 double burger baskets, $5 personal pizza, $7 personal specialty, $9 any medium, and $12 for any large. The new hours are 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, and delivery right now during COVID is all day long. All you got to do is call 563-232-1396, and they'll have that hot and ready for pickup or delivery. And like I said, delivery right now and forevermore is all of Bettendorf and all of Clare.
And forevermore.
Forevermore.
That's Van's Pizza More, 5023 Competition Drive in Bettendorf.
A little breaking news before we go to break, and I don't know how many people care about this outside of the one person standing in this room. The 2021 World Baseball Classic, 2021 World Baseball Classic is going to be canceled. It will resume in 2023. We'll be right back. Don't hassle us. We're local.
You like that? You like that?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
This is Ella Schmidt, the 106-pounder for Bettendorf, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Car old? Need it sold? Get rid of that old car and do a good deed at the same time. It's the Arrowhead Ranch Annual Auto Auction coming soon to Coal Valley. That's right, it's back. Donate your car, truck, SUV, or motorcycle, and if you live within 40 miles of Coal Valley, they will even pick it up, even if it doesn't run. All donations are tax deductible. Call 309-799-7044 or visit them online at arrowheadyouth.org. Car old, needed sold, Arrowhead Ranch Annual Auto Auction. Stay tuned for an auction date in Coal Valley.
So you're what they call an industrial athlete, but this ain't no gym. You're working hard. You got the right tools to get the job done? Would you play football and roller skates? I don't think so. So if your gear is beat up, tore up, all around mucked up, come on in and boot up at Quad City Safety. 5311 Tremont Avenue, Davenport. Or check us out at quadcitysafety.com.
America is a great big country.
Filled with all kinds of different people.
And we all count.
That's why the 2020 census
wants to make sure we're all counted.
Why is it so important?
Because the census helps inform how hundreds of billions of dollars will be spent each year for things like
new roads,
health clinics,
even more school programs.
So make sure you're counted.
Because you count.
Shape your future. Start here. Complete the census at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
A heart in my tasty Honey Nut Cheerios? Cereal, you trying to tell me you love me?
Actually, it's reminding you that it can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
Wait! They can help lower cholesterol? I've been so focused on the sweet, tasty taste that I completely forgot. Now I'm in love.
Learn more about making Honey Nut Cheerios part of your heart-healthy lifestyle by picking up a box at your local grocery store.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds, or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores, the score used by 90% of top lenders, for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes, always for free. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $28.95 and get a $10 O'Reilly gift card after mail-in rebate. You can even order at O'ReillyAuto.com and we'll deliver it curbside. Protect your engine from sludge and wear at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
We will get our momentum back. Our business is back, our smiles back, ourselves back. Because that's what this community does. At First Midwest Bank, we want to thank our colleagues for doing everything they can to help our clients and our communities get through this. Because we are all in this together. And together, we will get our momentum back. First Midwest Bank. Visit firstmidwest.com. Member FDIC.
From the Sheedy Family Chiropractic Studios, this is the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM, KBOB, Davenport.
All right, everybody, back here in the Hassle Castle, brought to you by Dunright Satellite and Dish, and this is Don't Hassle So Local on AM 1170.
1:22 in the afternoon, May 11th. Man, I can't believe we've been doing this for 2 months.
I know, this is getting...
I've lost track of time, you guys.
Can't believe over the weekend, Bomber and I went on a field trip.
We did. It was so fun.
We went to Pat Militich's little get-together at
the Freedom Picnic, Jay.
Crow Creek Park.
How was that?
It was fine.
It was good to see people.
About 100 people.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would say it was good. I think at first, like...
Did you talk to Pat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. He made... Jay, you want to tell everybody what you forced
I'll
me
do that,
to
yeah.
do?
I'll get to that.
My God.
I'll get to that. You know, easy. Maybe I should clarify this right away.
What did you force her to do, Biff? Maybe you're Biff.
I mean, I complied.
Eventually. It was good. We got there. Pretty decent time. I don't think we were late or anything like that.
No.
And at first, he was just kind of like, I don't like the optics. I was like, what do you mean? And I go, just a little too much spacing. Do you know what I'm saying? You just kind of, you can see.
It defeats the purpose
there's
of the
weird
whole...
things that you kind of feel. Like, even like we had done a thing earlier today, so I had that brimmed hat and I had my sunglasses on, and I'm like, wait, do I need to like not look like I'm... I didn't want I didn't want people to do that or people to go by and point and do. It was nice to talk to people. I wasn't about to get into too many conversations about what's going on and rah this and that, but it was just good to talk to some people kind of like-minded that maybe they didn't know I was that way, and it's not that so much I am, but I was there to support a friend of the show. And I think Pat did a good job. Our friend Kelly was there. He set up a little camera and microphone, and then I said, "Hey, Kelly, you think Bomber should sing the national anthem?"
Oh, dear God.
Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "I know." And she's like, No, I haven't warmed up. And then I'm like, Bomber, you're fine.
Did she go, Will Ferrell? And the acoustics are not good in this room, and I can't perform at this time. People put this pressure on me.
I haven't had tea.
I'm a songbird of my generation.
I got no Tabasco. I got no honey packets. I go, are you kidding me? I go, sports haven't been on TV in months. I go, I don't even know if I remember the words.
Yeah, you'll be all right. She did a great job. Everyone's really happy. I like to see.
But you can hear me on camera going, I hate you.
Couple tears in the eyes of the people that were watching. Like,
that was sweet.
It was nice. So, but
I'm glad you made me do it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I actually
glad you did too.
I don't even think I read the Quatsi Times article.
I like being forced to do things.
They did a good job, or if they said anything. Was it good?
Oh my God.
Before we went to break, we were kind of doing the Back to the Future. If you change one thing in history, Mikey Hart brought up that he would change the 79 draft, and instead of going in the 82nd pick in the third round to the 49ers, he would have had the Bears taking Joe Montana earlier. The Bears that year in the first round took Dan Hampton.
That's not a bad pick.
No, with the number, the number 4 overall pick. And then in the second round, they took wide receiver Ricky Watts.
He didn't really pan out to do
No, he didn't. And then let's see if they had
Dallas taking that draft.
I'll tell you in a second. And then the Bears took Willie McClendon, running back from Georgia, before Joe Montana went that year. Jack Thompson, Steve Fuller, and Phil Simms all went before Joe Montana in the 79 draft. Who did the Cowboys take that year? I'll let you know.
I wasn't alive.
They took Robert Shaw, center from Tennessee, in the first round.
Don't remember him.
Yeah. And
of course, I was a kid, so what
Oh, Troy's a kid. Can you imagine?
Aaron Mitchell, defensive back from UNLV in the second round.
No.
Let's see.
Not helping.
What?
At all.
Not helping. Yeah.
Not helping at all.
Is that a clip of the Chiefs right there? Did I just see?
And then Doug Cosby, tight end from Santa Clara.
No relation?
How many times has anyone from Santa Clara gone as high as number 76 overall and in the third round since Doug Cosby, tight end from Santa Clara?
I don't remember much out of Cosby.
That's how things have changed so much because the combine didn't start till 82. The guys are coming from southeastern Louisiana. And this, let's see, some other schools that I saw. I'm just like, really? Montana?
Montana.
Yeah. East Central Oklahoma went before Joe Montana, a linebacker. Cliff Thrift went to the Chargers. There's just that's how much the combine has changed things.
Yeah, super.
Weird. So that's that's a good one though. He would have changed history. It would have been the 79 NFL draft, and then Joe Montana is the star of the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Not the Truffle Shuffle.
He
not
wouldn't
to
be
be
a
confused.
He'd be Joe Cool. That's what he did the lyric. He did the lyrics and everything. It was good. You can read them on the Heritage Pub Facebook comment thread.
After
he
this
did
whole
really?
shutdown, I'm
Yeah,
gonna do
I have to
Truffle
scroll back
Shuffle.
to get them.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, he did the lyrics. Joe Cool, whatever else. It was good.
I have to find that why I'm busted into my heavy metal Monday.
I'm trying to do the Truffle Shuffle. I don't know. That's all that I
I
keep
can
hearing.
do the Truffle Shuffle.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one by
We should
Jim
do it- we should do it
Payson.
for charity.
No strike in '94, and Griffey Jr. breaks the home run record. So there's no strike. He goes back in time. He ends the strike in '94. Does this speed up Griffey's injuries or not? Is Griffey still an injury thing? That's it.
Yeah.
The home run record in a single season or the home run record overall? Because Griffey's injuries, that doesn't change
What did
Griffey's
Griffey
injuries.
change? What did he end up hitting overall?
Is
Was he
it-
like 700s?
Home runs?
Yeah. Or was he still like 6? I
Mm.
can't remember where he ended up.
6 strippers a weekend.
6 strippers a week.
He actually checked me out. You can ask my parents this. We were right behind the batting. What do you call it? When you're up to bat, you're on deck. And he was swinging, and I was sitting right there with my parents, and my mom was, King Griffey Jr.'s checking you out. King Griffey Jr.'s checking you out. And I looked up, and he's like this. Like swinging, just kind of making eye contact with him. I'm like, oh, hey.
You should have blown him a kiss.
Oh,
Good luck.
No, thank you. Not a fan.
What?
No.
Junior?
No.
Let's see. Home runs, career. There we go.
Only takes a couple minutes.
No, thank you.
He is at 7 with 630.
630.
Yeah. Ahead of Tommy. Pujols is ahead of him. Yeah. Pujols
What year was this?
The year that the
94.
Yeah, the strike.
Is this when the Braves?
So the season ended. So they just gave it to Toronto Blue Jays again. All right. So last week, I don't even know how it started, but sometimes that's how things happen here. When discussing, I have no idea how but it carried over to Friday. It carried over to Thursday night.
Talking about
at Gold Tea Underground. Then it carried over to Friday when every time
A lot of opinions about
T-Roy and I are out driving around and he's listening to Ozzy's Boneyard and every time the song came on he's like, hey, yeah, see? I'm like, that just because Ozzy plays it, they can't play the same songs over and over. So T-Roy's got He's got a theory about what metal is, and so this is. I told him he's going to do Metal Monday. So yes.
All right. So this is
We're
where
taking a small turn from the sports, but guess what? That's what happens here at Don't House
Before
Us for
you
Local.
start this, now I want to be able to have a rebuttal.
I'll tell you when it's your time.
Ooh, Daddy.
Let me get through.
He knows what I like.
I got this thing. I got this thing mapped out. As I get done, I'll be like, Leah, where do you rebut any of this?
All right, rebut. I like that.
Rebut.
There you go. Where do you rebut?
Okay.
All right.
So, Jay.
Lay it on us.
The
Big
word heavy metal can be traced back to the 1968 song by Steppenwolf. Born to Be Wild is the song. And in that time, the very first time ever, you hear the word heavy metal.
Heavy Metal Thunder.
They say heavy metal thunder. It was used to refer to the motorcycle at the time, okay?
Sure.
The song was written by a man named Mars Bonfire. If that doesn't scream to you heavy metal,
Mars
Bonfire.
It screams more America to
Anyways,
me than heavy
so
metal.
from there, at the time, there were 3 bands. And they say Steppenwolf was kind of on the outside of this a little bit. But 3 bands at the time, that all started in 1968, defined what heavy metal music was.
Okay.
Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and Deep Purple. All started in 68.
I agree with all those.
So you
First
got
guitar song everyone learns.
Smoke on the Water.
It is.
On the Water.
Smoke on
All right.
the water.
So in the Wikipedia definition, a genre of rock music developed in the late 60s, early 70s, largely U.S. and U.K., all right, with roots to blues, psychedelic, and whatever else. You have a lot of amplified distortion, extended guitar solos, emphatic beats, and overall loudness.
I agree with this so far.
Okay, so this is heavy metal.
I agree.
Out of what started in 68, bands that as time went on, and I'll give you a breakdown to them, okay?
Is anyone in this room a musician?
I can play Smoke on the Water. So 5, 3, 1, 5, 4, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1.
What are the notes?
3, 5. I just know it's
All
around the thing, yeah.
So those 3 bands I named started 68. You can start branching out from there as things started. A man named Alice Cooper got his start solo act.
Who?
Alice Cooper.
Thank you.
In 1971. Aerosmith, 1970.
Yes.
Judas Priest, 1969. They got their start. And Kiss.
Breaking the law.
In 1973. Okay.
Okay.
As the time goes on, as the 70s are closing in on the 80s, okay, Kiss finds a band called Van Halen, which had formed in 1972. They find them out playing. Judas Priest had already...
Are they at the Whiskey Go-Go?
Judas Priest has already influenced...
CBGB?
Studio 54.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
You want me to go through my crap?
Yeah, I want to hear.
Then
Yeah,
quit interrupting me.
All right. I'm sorry. Yes.
All right. Judas Priest had started influence what they were going to call the British rock heavy metal, which had already started with Iron Maiden, formed in 75, and Def Leppard in 77. Okay. Now, kind of at the same time as Van Halen, Aerosmith, Kiss,
Led Zeppelin
are at the end of the 70s being huge influences to some of these 80 bands. Rat and Motley Crue, for example. Motley Crue, their influence hugely was Kiss to start out with.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Rat was Aerosmith. They say this in Ultimate documentaries.
Okay.
You have bands like Iron Maiden that was influenced by Judas Priest, and some of these bands went on to influence some of these punk rock bands, which was a side thing.
Social Distortion.
Yeah, Sex Pistols, things like that.
Okay.
The Misfits, Black Diamond, okay?
Gotcha.
That kind of went off into a little bit of a side, which then slid into a thrash metal thing that was more started at about 84, okay? But Metallica formed in 81, but it started getting popular in 84. So, at the beginning of the 80s then, you got what they call glam hair pop metal.
Ugh.
Okay? Some teased hair, whatever else. These bands would go on to include Bon Jovi, formed in 83. Rat, formed in 76. Motley Crue, 81. And then I didn't go through find it, but you have Twisted Sister, Wasp, Striper, Cinderella. They put Christian rock in here. I'm telling you right now.
Who sponsors
They
them,
are
right?
part of it.
We can't.
Dokken, Poison,
AKA
Quiet
Murder
Riot,
Hornets.
Whitesnake. Okay?
Uh-huh.
There's still other bands. Now, Ozzy is, at this point, at the late 70s, Ozzy is branched off by himself. Ozzy stays right more in the middle of the heavy metal road, okay? He doesn't really cross too much into the glam hair. He does just for a little bit when he gets a couple of his young guitarists, Jake E. Lee, for example.
He does love ballads still,
But Ozzy crosses over a little bit into the glam hair metal, but mostly stays metal.
I agree.
Another band formed in 1973 who doesn't cross over into the glam hair pop metal, but stays metal, AC/DC.
Yeah.
Blues, heavy,
Okay.
loud, boom, okay? Those bands stay in the middle of still being heavy metal, not quote-unquote hair pop glam metal.
Okay.
Okay, out of that hair pop glam metal and the thrash metal starts, okay, influenced by people like the Misfits and Black Diamond. You have Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer. Very fast-paced, heavy, all right? They didn't want to wear lipstick and makeup like Jay's favorite band, Poison. They wanted to be men. Okay.
Have you mentioned Poison, or are you just going to
Yes, I
take a
did say
shot?
Poison.
Okay,
I did say Poison as part of the hair club band. Now, towards the end of the 80s, a band called Guns N' Roses comes along.
Oh, hello, daddies.
And they are the first band that kind of is a cross between, they're right in the middle between heavy metal, glam hair pop metal, and a new thing that's going to start within a year, grunge.
Ooh.
And as you get into grunge becomes its own thing because of where it formed in Seattle. You get the bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam,
Foo Fighters,
Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, STP, Mother Love Bone.
Foo Fighters.
You can name some more. Foo Fighters came out of Nirvana.
Yeah, that's
but
like
all right.
98, 99.
And even in the punk metal era too, which kind of crossed over a little bit grunge, your Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Love them.
Okay. They were kind of more of a punk band.
But pop punk.
Pop-punk, but they were pop-punkish.
They're definitely punk, I would say, more than pop. They just happen to be
But
because
they became more
But
pop.
if you listen to like if you like
Blood Sugar Sex
Nirvana had a lot of influences.
What about Sublime?
A lot of Led Zeppelin influences. Sublime was different. That was
Sublime is reggae mixed with pop punk.
yeah. I mean,
It's like a
but
mix of all
Sublime
three.
was its own thing. It was really its own thing. It didn't really apply into
Okay,
it.
I just had to
I wouldn't say Sublime falls into heavy metal. It was
What
its
about-
own thing.
What about Sugar Ray?
Oh my
That is
God!
pop music, Jay.
Get out!
That is just pop music. Okay, come on, sure. Right.
Get out!
But
Right.
this, to me,
yes.
all of what I mentioned
Uh-huh.
falls under the heavy metal umbrella. Under the heavy metal umbrella, you have glam hair pop metal,
Correct.
you have punk rock, you have thrash metal, and you have grunge.
Okay.
I think I've covered what can be called metal there.
I
From
think I
there, we
agree
can
with
argue.
Troy.
There, we can argue if bands like Guns N' Roses are more glam hair pop,
Yeah,
or are they
yeah.
more like the beginning of grunge.
So what you've created here, Troy, is you've created the hub of metal music, and then everything else is kind of a branch that comes off.
Things branched off of it. Yes,
You are.
Leah.
I agree with you. Can we hug it out?
Now do what I say.
Yes, Daddy. You got it.
So
I agree with
GNR comes out of the glam punk metal,
I agree
but
with
they're a
that.
cross between the mainstream metal, and then
Yeah,
you think
I
they're a
mean-
direct influence over grunge.
I don't think they were an influence
No.
over grunge. I believe they were their own thing, and they were trying to break out of glam pop metal, and they were really one of the first things that was grungy. But they weren't from the Seattle area, so they don't get the grunge title. But I think they were kind of a crossover band. Whereas, like, if you look at AC/DC, look at them throughout their career. They dressed like the grunge guys dressed.
Yeah, a
Jeans.
little bit. So did.
But you know what I'm saying?
So did Motley Crue, though.
No.
In a lot of ways, they wore the flannels
when Motley
and
Crue's
the
done,
leather
no.
pants.
No,
Motley Crue
see,
did
you
not.
didn't
Come
see
on,
their
they're
roots.
wearing red vests and leather.
Yeah, when Motley Crue
When they
started,
first came out.
Yeah.
Not later.
Their first two albums,
they
Motley
tried to
Crue,
cross over.
were
Oh,
trying
you
to
think
be.
they tried to
They were
cross
trying to
over?
be like Kiss, where they thought they were satanic metal,
Yeah, they weren't though.
but they were. That's how they dressed. But then their third album, they went total glam pop.
But they tried to be grunge a little bit.
And then towards the end, during Dr. Feelgood, they went more of the...
go towards what's popular.
Yeah.
Dr. Feelgood was still...
All right,
metal.
cool.
It was
Well,
metal.
now here's the thing with Metallica. Everything before the Black Album is amazing. Everything after the Black Album is trash.
But see, here's what I have. And,
Why is
I have
that?
an arrow showing Metallica.
I know, I see
that arrow
That's
of
why I'm commenting here.
Metallica going to grunge?
Yep. They
Metallica,
tried.
once the Black Album came out,
They got sober.
They went... They started getting away from the thrash
Because
roots,
they got
and they
sober.
started going more towards a grunge type rock.
They got sober.
Just real heavy, more bluesy, more... There was some fast stuff in there, like "Give Me Fuel, Give Me
wasn't
Fire,
the
Give Me
same,
That
though.
One Shot."
Okay, I was going to ask you. I can't name a single song after Black.
Nope.
See, I
So-
can't.
Me neither.
See, no, Fuel had there was some.
Tell me it didn't lose its luster, though.
I went to a recent. I wouldn't say recent. In the last 10 years, I went to a Metallica concert. Their newer stuff, they've gotten more back
It's more
towards a little
lovey.
thrashy.
Like there's a couple love songs in there that I dig, but before the Black Album is when you have musicians thrive when you've got tortured souls and you've got pain and you've got angst and once they all went to rehab and they're all
They had mainstream
Metallica
success.
Metallica never had that.
They
problem.
were high AF and that's why
Metallica never.
That
Leah,
was-
you're wrong about Metallica. They never had that problem.
That was
yeah, they did. Mike, are you pregnant? Are you? Ooh, we're freaking.
No, they never did.
Who?
Metallica never had
The
the
lead
drug
singer
problem.
went to rehab.
Hetfield?
Yeah, he went to rehab. Look it up.
Hatfield. But listen,
isn't
it more mainstream success because they never had as much as they did with Black?
They didn't care though. Now you look at them doing like photo ops and you look at more publicity stunts.
See, I
and it's
think
more like-
Metallica was more when it comes to metal music. Metallica learned like the Beatles learned. Listen, when the Beatles started out, they were love me do, and then they went with the times. But I'm just saying, they turned and they twisted what they did as musicians to match what was popular with the times. I think Metallica just molded with the times. Yeah,
No,
to
Metallica
your
got sober.
mainstream fans. I don't.
Can we do the research here? Can our fans do the research?
don't
Can our
think they were-
hasslers do the research?
The only thing I remember ever happened to Hetfield was he burnt his arm, so he might
He
have got
went to
addicted to
rehab.
some pain pills.
No,
but that
he was a heroin user.
No, I don't think
Yes,
so.
he was.
Well, we can find out.
I think
can
you're
Google,
wrong. I think
yeah.
like that's Guns N' Roses.
I'm sorry, but the best musicians in the world are usually high.
Usually, but I always thought Metallica was one of the bands.
Same. I mean, it's same with Motley Crue when they all got sober. Look at them. Now they're all married and hunkered down in quarantine, doing
20 things-
TikToks. They're all doing TikToks now.
20 things you probably didn't know. Blah, 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 blah,
They
blah,
did.
blah,
They all
blah.
got sober.
I can't go into all that. Like, I
There
guess
you go. James Hetfield was really recently in rehab again, so he relapsed because he went to rehab after the Black Album was right
All
after
right,
rehab.
alcohol in 2001. Okay.
Yeah, right after the
Alcohol.
There was more than that.
Just
We're going to
change
write
it.
that publicly out there. That
I
it's
think they all
alcohol.
had alcohol.
There's more than that though. Before the Black Album was there after, or the one after that was after they were all sober, and it was totally a different feel. It was not the same Metallica vibe. It was completely different, and they lost a lot of followers after that. A shame, you know, because you
Well,
want
that's
everybody to be
just
healthy.
that's what you're.
But rock is rock.
I was always telling the stupid hippies, "You're not catching us, man."
What?
You're a hippie. The hippie thrashers. They always drive me nuts.
Am I a hippie thrasher?
No, I just their music evolved.
I don't think so. I think their music changed because they had a different mentality, and they were sober.
Life on Chop changes you, Leah.
Doesn't
you should
it?
know that.
On the Chop? You ever
should
been?
know
You ever been to the Pen?
the pen, pig pen?
Nah.
Yeah.
Let's
I've
talk
been
a
a
little bit
couple
more
times.
about this after we take a break. But first, I want to tell you about locally owned and operated in the Quad City since 1934. Tri-City has been your source for restaurant equipment. Value, quality, very competitive price, and full service. Going on here in the COVID, you may be working on things in the kitchen. You may be watching people's videos of what to do, and you might want to expand your kitchen. You should be checking them out. You can go to their website at tricityequipment.com, or you can even stop down to their floor room, 527 West 4th Street in Davenport. It's newly remodeled, and it has over 1,600 items in stock. Tri-City does deliver to Quad City residents, and they will match any online price. Give them a call today at 563-322-5382 for any questions you may need that you may add to your personal bar, restaurant, or even your kitchen that you're doing. Showroom hours are 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. Like I said, it's at 527 West 4th Street in Davenport. The delivery thing is big, and also they'll match any prices online. And eventually, when we all get back together, because we all heard the commercials that eventually we're going to return, when you're going to be doing graduation parties and things like that, you want to be hitting them up. You don't need to be running to the big box stores and buying 12 martini glasses when really you need 3. Go ahead and check them out. That's Tri-City Equipment. We've been using them since 2008. They're great down there. Kyle and the crew are awesome. We'll be right back. Don't hassle us. We're local.
Like that! You like that!
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
This is Adam Rosso from Hawkeye Headquarters, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
We will get our momentum back. Our business is back, our smiles back, ourselves back. Because that's what this community does. At First Midwest Bank, we want to thank our colleagues for doing everything they can to help our clients and our communities get through this. Because we are all in this together. And together, we will get our momentum back. First Midwest Bank. Visit firstmidwest.com. Member FDIC.
Night Chiropractic in LeClaire, Iowa just opened. And to celebrate, they're offering a first appointment special of only $37. Includes exam, x-rays, adjustments, and more. Visit nightchirohealth.com or call 563-729-1400 today. Dr. Knight is at your service.
And now a game of commercial chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Hi, guess we should talk about something. How's the, vermicelli game in your town? Got any good Vietnamese restaurants? Vermicelli? Oh, it's a noodle. Very good. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
At AutoZone, we've always been here to help you get what you need to go where you need. That hasn't changed. In need of an oil change? Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX high-mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And if you need something fast, you can get it fast, your way. Whether it's next-day delivery or free same-day pickup, in-store or curbside, the choice is yours. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions and details on AutoZone.com.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the 3rd time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Capital One knows life doesn't alert you about your credit card.
Hey, couch surfers, we've got nonstop tunes to keep you rocking while you work. Oh, and Colleen, yes, you Colleen with a K. Your free trial of Movie Plus ends tomorrow, and your card may be charged. Do you want to continue or cancel?
So meet Eno, the Capital One assistant. Eno looks out for surprise charges, like when free trials expire, and helps if you need to fix them. Eno, another way Capital One is watching out for your money when you're not. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Limitations apply.
And now a game of commercial chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, have you noticed how everyone's grammar is completely awful now? Like, you know, the texting and the LOLs. Whatever happened to punctuation? I mean, drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Warning, if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-500-8980. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-500-8980. That's 1-800-500-8980.
1-800-500-8980.
Talk about the Cubs, Bears, and all the local sports every day with Don't Hassle Us, We're Local, noon to 2. From the Quad City sports leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Speaking of heavy metal, there's Sammy Hagar to bring us back.
Sammy Hagar's heavy metal?
Yeah. Come on, Jay.
What do you mean? I mean, yeah, I guess so. But and then, do you think Van Hagar is heavy metal?
Yeah, it's heavy metal.
All right.
It is.
I think they're...
Leah Bomber's heavy metal.
I think they're MTV metal.
She's a heavy metal mama.
They're MTV metal.
Can we talk more about
You and your MTV metal.
Well, would they be on Headbangers? Would they be on
Hey, by the way, do we have a new video out yet?
Oh,
No,
your
I
video.
gotta do it after this, yeah.
I was just watching it.
Which
I
one?
mean,
you
why
wanted to see
can't
my
this be
nakedness?
love is a
Why
thing?
are you gonna-
Everybody's work. Well, you get a pinch of my fat.
Why can't
You ain't got
this
no fat.
be
There's a
love?
little bit there.
Why can't this be love as metal?
It's
not
but
metal.
It's like that love song metal. It's fine.
It's
It's
not.
there.
Power
You-
ballad?
Okay, you
Pop
can,
metal,
no,
Jay.
you say a love
Pop
ballad.
metal.
A love
Pop
ballad
metal.
is not metal.
But it's
not
pop
metal.
No, it's
like
a power ballad.
Okay, so
ballad.
you do Ozzy. I'm coming home.
Yeah,
That's not metal.
But it's Ozzy, so I'm with you, Leah.
Okay.
I agree with you that
You
it's
know what?
not metal, but the
Neither
artist
is-
performing
here.
it is.
I disagree. You can't do that because neither is Changes by Black Sabbath.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
So, but Black Sabbath's metal.
Right.
So
but
they make
have
a song
love-
that's still there. Like
they have love ballads. It doesn't mean that those songs are metal.
God, that is.
But they have to fall into metal because of the fact of the band performing them.
I was
Incorrect.
introduced.
The album is metal.
I was introduced to Black Sabbath
Can I just
when I
you
was
guys?
13, and
Sweetly.
what a weird time to have. what a weird time to have it when you're hearing that song. I'm going through Changes at 13. Like, yeah, tell me about it. Tell me
about it.
Ozzy, see, he knows.
God, I had to buy a razor. I
I'm
was like,
going
this
through
is so
things.
confusing.
Boing. What is that thing doing? Mom, it spit at me.
Stop.
Mine didn't do that.
You have a very comprehensive list, T-Roy, and you make good arguments about the whole thing.
Well, it definitely is a hub. Heavy metal branches out.
You are correct.
And
I agree.
touches other things. Yeah, and granted, there's bands that aren't nearly as hard as other bands when it comes to metal. I agree.
Okay.
Van Hagar is hands down one of the I call
most metal.
Bad word, not metal. Like it's
careful now.
Clinging on to the metal just because
Yeah,
of Eddie.
yeah.
Just because of Eddie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eddie Vedder.
Van
Who you
Halen.
talking about? Oh, Van Halen.
Yeah,
What
Van
about Pearl Jam?
Hagar.
Do you think Pearl Jam is metal?
Not a grunge.
It's grunge.
But it falls.
Okay.
But
it
at the
falls
same
under
time,
it falls under the metal umbrella.
it falls under the umbrella of and it's a branch of it.
Okay.
But it at the same time, I see. This might be an unpopular opinion out there, Quad Cities. I don't like Pearl Jam.
I'm gonna poke you in the eye with a pen.
I'm sorry. Listen, 10 was great, Jay.
10
you
is-
can have 10.
Oh yeah.
But after that, you know what you got? A bunch of zeros.
You know what you got with Bon Jovi? You got a bunch of middle-aged women dancing with their brooms in the kitchen, sweeping their floors.
I wasn't.
That is
listen,
not metal.
Not a huge Bon Jovi fan either.
Bon Jovi's not
went
metal.
went to a concert
Mm-hmm.
just because it was cool to go because I got to hook up with
And
a girl. at
girls
one.
liked him because he was hot. That's
But
it. And he's not.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, like
Too
to me,
femmy for me.
I'll take Nirvana, Alice in Chains, and Soundgarden and Stone Temple Pilots. ADL.
Absolutely. I'm down with that.
Like Stone Temple Pilots. To
We
me
have
is
the
like
same taste in music, and we're
loves.
arguing a
No,
little
we're
bit.
not really. It's okay. We don't always have to agree.
We don't. I still love you.
Oh, I guess at that point when I was 13 and listening to Black Sabbath, Ozzy was just doing Changes on his own. But then you know what else he does? Is a
duet with Lita Ford.
Speaks-
that got
speaks
13-year-old
terrible
Jay.
English. And that still gets 13-year-old Jay. That gets 44-year-old Jay.
When did he do with Lita? What song was that?
Lita Ford?
Yeah. When did Ozzy do with Lita?
Close My Eyes Forever.
Yes. Close my eyes forever.
I love Lita Ford.
I do too.
Oh man.
Lita, I was compared to Lita Ford once, and I was
If
like,
she
thank you
knocked
so much.
in that
She's
door,
not nearly that hot.
she knocked in that door
Our voices as well.
and did that
because I have that
finger
metal
motion
voice.
come talk to me, I wouldn't even say goodbye to you guys.
No?
I would just walk out that door.
Just move in.
Yeah.
Lita.
Yeah, Lita Ford. I don't even know how old she is. I don't even care.
I'll take Leah Obama over Lita.
What about Lucinda
Lita.
Williams, y'all?
Don't know who that
Lucinda Williams from 90210?
No, Lucinda Williams. Really?
No, what am I supposed to, why am I supposed to know who she is?
She dated Cohen Leonard.
No, I don't even know who that is either. Yeah,
Leonard Cohen. I'm sorry, I said Cohen Leonard.
One of the
First
Coen
name
brothers?
Leonard Cohen, who dated Janis Joplin.
No,
Janis Joplin was ugly.
She was, but she was a rocker. She was the first. She's my idol. She's the reason why I got into singing.
Oh, she had a great voice.
She's who I cover the most when I sing.
She was a odd character.
She's the super.
She had
aren't
some
we
drug
all?
problems.
Aren't we all though?
Well, yeah.
Isn't she in the 27 Club?
Did you know what her and Jimmy
Yes,
Johnson, by
she
the way?
is.
Her and Jimmy Johnson went to high school together. So,
freaking fast.
yeah, so if he had stayed with the Cowboys and she'd have stayed alive, we would have had all this in common.
We would have had some Janis Johnsons.
Don't do things like
True
bringing.
story, Jay. They
don't
did
do
go to
things
high
like
school
bringing Lucinda Williams to this conversation.
Lucinda Williams is one of the top female rockers of all time.
I don't care.
What about
What do
Joan
you mean you
Jett?
don't care? You want to talk about metal? That's a female metal
Oh,
artist
she's
right there.
American rock, folk, and country music singer all in one.
What about
Because that's
Joan
what Google
Jett?
says. Listen to her albums
like
and then
Joan
talk to
Jett.
me.
Joan Jett was great. You know what my favorite song Joan Jett is? Do you want to touch? Yeah. Do you want to touch?
We're gonna fight.
I'm not.
If
You
you
don't
say
like Joan
Lucinda Williams is not rock, we're gonna fight.
I didn't say.
I don't know her. I'm reading
Okay,
this
well,
thing
that's
on
what I'm saying.
Wikipedia,
Don't
but
look
you're
it
bringing.
up on
I mean, look at her. I
Wikipedia.
don't know anything about
I
her.
cover
Like,
her songs. Look up the song "Come On" and watch it and listen to it on your way home today.
Yeah, Jay.
okay,
It's called "Come On."
all right.
Rock
Come
out, Jay.
on,
You got, your mullet's halfway there.
You didn't
I know.
even make
You're-
me.
Oh, your mullet's halfway there.
Oh, stop! You guys are driving me crazy.
Whoa,
Without
Jay.
it, just singing songs. It's like karaoke, bad karaoke afternoon.
It's not bad karaoke.
Just singing all this stuff, bringing up. Now you're
I've
just
actually
making
been
up people.
paid to sing at one point in my life.
Leonard
Not anymore.
Cohen and Cohen Leonard. You don't
Hey, you
even
didn't
know.
talk about
who it is.
Leonard Cohen.
I don't
Leonard
know.
Cohen is one of the best songwriters of all time ever.
All right.
Hey,
Have you ever heard T-Roy's songs?
I wrote some songs.
They're good.
Oof,
I did.
y'all.
They're great.
Okay.
They're good. But no, I like it. I love.
I had a guy take my song lyrics and put them to. Jay has that. If
Did
you? ever
you?
wanna Hear it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Let me sing the song of my people.
Okay. Well, you know him. You know who the guy is. It's our man from the Dawn, Sean Ryan.
Of course, and
Yeah.
his son is named after Leonard Cohen.
Oh, okay.
There
Good.
you go.
Good story.
So let's ask
Jay.
Sean. Hey, Sean Ryan, are you listening? If you're listening right now, will you
He's not.
educate these people?
Where's my song?
Who
Can you,
Leonard
don't you
Cohen
have
is?
that like somewhere in a file that you can just play it right away, Jay?
I might. Hold on a second.
See, this would be good. You gotta love. Yeah, I wrote this.
Just give me 1
Can
second.
I sing it?
You guys
If
keep
God,
talking
if,
here.
If I have a couple songs, I bet you could sing.
Do you want me to
And
put
they're
them to
metalish.
music?
They're metalish songs.
Oh, Daddy, let's do
we
it.
could do it.
Let's
Yeah, because I wanted to be a heavy metal songwriter.
I can do it. I can put
Yeah.
music to it. And I have a couple of really good friends that are
Parents
musicians.
wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me take guitar lessons. I don't know why.
I'm gonna have to really search for it deep because it's not
Sir-
on
oh, I
Facebook
like it.
Messenger anymore. Or
It's
anything
my
like
favorite
that.
word.
Well, it's
You didn't save it to your songs.
This was like 3 years ago when we did
Find
this.
it.
But you didn't save it to your songs.
We can, we can find the music, find the lyrics, and I'll put
I have
music to it.
lyrics.
I have two friends
gotta
that
go
right
find
now that
those
will do
lyrics.
it,
Where did I
hands
put 'em?
down. And you know what? Even a
They're
friend
in
of
the
mine will
back of
come
my
in,
Dungeons
he'll
and
come in and
Dragons
play it while I
Hey,
sing it on air.
get some back. See, told you.
Give me
Sabbath
that
was
back.
it changes was a Sabbath song thanks to the Hasslers out there who did the research.
Oh,
So no, it doesn't matter.
I didn't know. I didn't care.
Yeah, I know you didn't care. But no, you. So there are very
Of all
there are multiple
the,
things.
of all the
multiple-
heavy metal bands,
multiple metal is what it is.
Of all the heavy metal bands, the most iconic to me,
Mm-hmm.
are I mean, there's just two that stick out really for me:
Who?
Zeppelin and AC/DC.
I don't disagree with that.
But you got to round out the Mount Rushmore. if
Mine's
it's
going to
Mount
be
Rushmore
Iron
money, too.
Maiden and Guns N' Roses.
Kiss gets on there.
For you?
Guns N' Roses? No, I don't know. I do.
So
I
Leah,
do
what's
agree
your-
with the,
Well,
with AC/DC.
no. What's Leah's Rushmore?
Okay, we only have about a minute to do
What
it.
do you mean
so
my
do it.
Rushmore?
Your
Of
four
metal.
four top metal bands.
4 top metal bands: Guns N' Roses,
Okay.
Iron Maiden,
Okay.
Metallica, and Van Halen.
Okay. Jay, quick, go.
AC/DC,
Okay.
Metallica. Which one would I? Motley Crue. Poison.
Oh God. I got Led Zeppelin.
That's what you get for about Pearl Jam.
I got Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, and then I'm gonna go Metallica. And
put Lita Ford in there for me too. I want 5.
I'm gonna have to go STP on mine.
Stone Temple Pilots?
STP.
Really?
Yeah, I love STP.
You know what cures STP? Antibiotics.
That's right.
Either that or Soundgarden. I really like me some Soundgarden too.
We want to thank Erickson for calling in today and you guys hanging out with us. We not only just talked about the Last Dance, recap that, we did a little Back to the Future segment, and we got to do
we all had Metallica.
Heavy Metal Monday. We appreciate that, and we appreciate you guys. Hopefully the weather's going to be nicer, and hopefully the governor of Iowa opens up some things soon. Illinois, I don't know. They're saying 9 or 15 months. Who knows? You guys have a hassle-free Monday. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy yourselves, Quad Cities. Stay safe and sanitized.
White man
A girl has no name.
Remember that song?